Swish! A silver light suddenly flashed in the scorching void. Holy Master Huatsong's pupils constricted. The next moment he saw the void in front of him. Swish! 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 A strange silver light burst out in an instant. The dense silver light flickered crazily. Even a second-rank true saint like him could not completely capture Jian Wushuang's figure. Movement technique. What a terrifying movement technique! Holy Master Huatsong's face sank. Movement technique. Yes, it was a movement technique. After 120 years of meditation, Jian Wushuang's comprehension of the space-time rule had improved a lot with the help of the dissection of the gold-splitting secret manual. On the way to meditation, Jian Wushuang also gained a great harvest. He created a movement technique himself. This movement skill was called Silver Light. Like a silver ghost, Jian Wushuang's figure shuttled through the void. Silently, he appeared beside Holy Master Huatsong and slashed out with his blood mountain sword. A sword light suddenly lit up. This sword light was also silent, but the moment it lit up, roar. Vaguely, a fierce beast's roar echoed in the world. It was a sword light, but in the blink of an eye, it turned into a huge and ferocious beast's head. Jian Wushuang's self-created sword skill, Xianxia. This sword move was powerful. In terms of level, it had already reached the level of a rank 2 absolute art, and it was relatively strong among rank 2 absolute arts. Holy Master Huatsong seemed to have sensed that the power of this sword was not to be underestimated. At the first moment, he mustered all of his divine power. The scarlet long rod in his hand instantly turned into a huge volcano. This volcano contained terrifying power. The moment it came into direct contact with the sword light, it suddenly erupted. Bang! A shockingly loud sound rang out, and boundless divine power swept out in all directions. A hint of shock suddenly flashed in Holy Master Huatsong's eyes. He staggered and fell down. It was obvious that he had been struck by the sword light. The power of the sword skill has increased so much? Holy Master Huatsong was a little surprised. When Jian Wushuang fought with him just now, his sword skills were ordinary and not very powerful. Obviously, they were not as powerful as his. Even if he used the sword formation, it was still the same. But now, Jian Wushuang was using his swordsmanship again. Did his swordsmanship actually suppress his power? It's a second-level absolute art, and it's a second-level absolute art that focuses on strength. Holy Master Huatsong's pupils constricted slightly. He finally felt the enormous pressure from Jian Wushuang's body. And this pressure suddenly soared as Jian Wushuang's body swayed again. In the void, the silver light kept flashing and changing at an incredible speed. Too fast, too strange. His speed is already very fast, much faster than mine. With this movement skill, I can't catch his figure at all. With this speed and movement skill, he can completely crush me. I'm a living target in front of him. Many thoughts rose in Holy Master Huatsong's mind at once. Buzz! Jian Wushuang's figure appeared on the ground. As soon as he appeared, sword light swept over. It was the move of Xianxia again. Holy Master Huatsong gritted his teeth and could only passively resist. Swish! 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 Jian Wushuang's speed and movement technique were fully unleashed. With his own sword technique, he surrounded Holy Master Huatsong and attacked again and again. Every time he attacked, he used the move Xianxia. Clang! 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 A series of low collision sounds could be heard. Holy Master Huatsong had no ability to fight back at all. He could only passively defend himself. Although he was a little embarrassed, his divine body did not suffer any damage. It's useless. I admit that your speed is far faster than mine and your swordsmanship is more powerful than mine. With your movement techniques, you can completely crush me or even play with me. I don't have the ability to fight back, but you can't kill me at all. It's just a waste of time to keep fighting. Holy Master Huatsong shouted in a low voice. He no longer had the will to fight, so he hoped that Jian Wushuang would stop as well. A waste of time? I don't think it's a waste of time. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows, however. A strange smile appeared on his face. It's true that Xianxia alone can't kill you. In that case, you can try my star dream again. Star dream. Holy Master Huizong was stunned. But Jian Wushuang had already attacked like lightning. The silver light flashed again, and Jian Wushuang still appeared silently beside Holy Master Huizong. Holy Master Huizong had already noticed the moment he appeared. It's useless. Holy Master Huizong's voice was cold, and his body was surrounded by raging flames. He wanted to swing his long rod to block Jian Wushuang's next attack. But suddenly he saw Jian Wushuang's sword. It was a cold and beautiful sword shadow that felt like a dream. The sword light was calm and indifferent. It swung out from Jian Wushuang's hand and went straight for his neck. But when he saw the sword, Holy Master Huizong's eyes were wide open. It was too fast. The sword was too fast. It was unbelievably fast. It was far faster than he had imagined. He had reacted at the first moment and even attacked before Jian Wushuang did, waving the scarlet long staff in his hand. However, he found that he was still far from being able to keep up with the speed of the sword move. The beautiful and dreamy ice-cold sword shadow. He could not withstand it at all. Clang! The ice-cold sword shadow directly cut into Holy Master Huizong's protective armor. His protective armor was also of a very high level, so it immediately blocked a large amount of power for him. However, at this moment, the sword shadow's blade suddenly slashed. This slash, his protective armor was actually torn open on the spot. The ice-cold blade followed the opening and directly entered his divine body. How is this possible? Holy Master Huizong was shocked. He could not believe it. What he did not know was that the most terrifying thing about Jian Wushuang's Blood Mountain sword was its sharpness. It was already a second-grade holy treasure. Once it was cut, even a second-grade holy treasure armor of the same level would not be able to withstand it. Moreover, the Star Dream move that Jian Wushuang was using was also a move that could cut through. His protective armor was useless in front of the Blood Mountain sword and Star Dream sword techniques. The cold sword shadow directly passed through Holy Master Huizong's divine body. His divine body immediately collapsed, and the god-burning poison on the sword tip immediately attacked Holy Master Huizong's divine power. No, no! Holy Master Huizong let out a shrill cry, but his divine body did not regenerate. He's dead. I killed a rank 2 true saint after consuming 5 drops of the god-burning poison. Jian Wushuang stood in the void and looked calmly at the place where Holy Master Huizong had disappeared. He was quite excited. 120 years ago, when he met a rank 2 true saint, he could barely fight him even if he used all his skills. But now he had met a rank 2 true saint. He did not even use many of his trump cards. For example, he did not guide the sword intent in the Blood Mountain sword, nor did he use the Mountain River map. He just relied on his secret technique and the sword technique he created. He easily killed Holy Master Huizong. Of course, the most important thing was the sword technique he created. I've studied it for 120 years, and I've created 2 sword skills. One of them, Evening Elephant, is based on strength and power, but its level is only at the 2nd level. However, Star Dream is my biggest achievement in the past 120 years. It's a real 3rd-level secret skill, and it's based on tearing and cutting. It can bring my battle strength to the maximum. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands. The absolute arts created by the Immortal Saint were divided into many levels. Just like the 7th level of the Immortal Saint, the absolute arts were also divided into 7 levels. The 2nd-level absolute arts were usually created by a 2nd-level true saint, and many 2nd-level true saints were not qualified to create such absolute arts. And the 3rd-level absolute arts were undoubtedly created by a 3rd-level true saint. Of course, Jian Wushuang was not a rank 3 true saint, but he was able to create Star Dream because his comprehension of spacetime principles and sword principle had reached the level of a rank 3 true saint. With the help of the gold-splitting secret manual and the void swordsmanship, he was able to create this move. This move was indeed extremely terrifying. The Star Dream swordsmanship alone is enough to kill an ordinary rank 2 true saint. If I guide the sword essence in the Blood Mountain sword, my strength will soar again. By then, even if I encounter a rank 2 peak true saint, I should be able to suppress him. Of course, if I encounter a rank 3 true saint, I'm afraid I won't be able to fight him. Jian Wushuang chuckled. With a wave of his hand, He took away the treasures left behind by Holy Master Huizong and his interspatial ring. Then, he turned around and left to find his next target. What Jian Wushuang did not know was that the Magic Note Divine Kingdom had been completely shaken. The Magic Note Divine Kingdom occupied a total of 36 realms and was extremely powerful. The nest of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom was in the center of the 36 realms, on a floating land. On that piece of land, there were countless palaces and pavilions. The grand atmosphere was endless. In the very center, at the peak of the Great Divine Mountain, a palace that was completely constructed from light purple crystals stood there. At this moment, in this purple palace, a purple-robed elder was kneeling respectfully. There was not a single human figure in front of him. There was only a towering purple statue. Although that purple statue was a human figure, it was extremely blurry. It was impossible to see its appearance clearly. King, Holy Lord Huizong is dead, the purple-robed elder said respectfully. He did not even dare to raise his head. The purple-robed elder's voice rang out in the palace, but there was no response for a short period of time. After a while, Huizong, that little fellow, his master, is a good brother who followed me to conquer the world. Back then, in order to establish the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, I led all my brothers to battle for a full 100,000 years. During these 100,000 years of battle, 70 to 80% of those brothers died. There weren't many left. Huizong's master also died as a result. When he died, his master begged me to take care of his disciple for him. But now that Huizong is dead, how can I face that old brother? A hoarse and deep voice sounded in the hall. The voice seemed ordinary, but it contained endless dignity. The kneeling purple-robed old man did not even dare to breathe. After a while, the hoarse voice sounded again. Find out who did it? We are investigating, but according to the information we have now, the person who killed Holy Master Huizong should be the same person who killed the 6-level 1 true saints under the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. He is wearing a gray robe and a gray mask, so we can be sure that he is an expert from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. In addition, this Heaven-Cleaving Alliance expert is acting strangely. He likes to hide his aura and disguise himself as a holy master, said the purple-robed elder. He killed 6-level 1 true saints of my Magic Note Divine Kingdom in one breath, and he even killed Huizong. No matter who he is unforgivable. A hoarse voice sounded. Go, find him and kill him. Yes. The purple-robed elder nodded respectfully and immediately stood up to leave. After the purple-robed elder left, the huge divine hall once again fell silent. After walking out of the divine hall, the purple-robed old man who was kneeling respectfully and did not even dare to breathe had completely changed his appearance. His gaze was ice-cold, his aura was cold, and his face also carried a certain amount of dignity. As soon as he walked out of the divine hall, many experts immediately surrounded him. The king has already ordered that no matter who that person is, find him and kill him. The purple-robed old man's voice was ice-cold. Yes, sir. The surrounding experts all replied in unison, their killing intent soaring to the skies. In addition, this person is from the Heaven-Cleaving Union. From the looks of it, he has accepted a mission from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. This mission might require him to kill a batch of experts from my Magic Note Divine Kingdom, and it should be those who have sinned. Pass down the order. Tell the experts under my Magic Note Divine Kingdom to be careful during this period of time, especially those who have sinned. The purple-robed elder instructed. Yes. Everyone nodded. Soon, the high-level experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom began to be tempted. In a flash, it was already the 7th day since Jian Wushuang killed Holy Master Huizong. Now, Jian Wushuang had arrived in another domain. In a huge mansion, it was originally peaceful and quiet. But suddenly, boom! A terrifying boom suddenly sounded, immediately breaking the silence of this world. Whoosh! A figure dashed out of the mansion and fled into the void as fast as he could. You want to escape? A cold shout echoed. Another 4 figures rushed out and chased after him at an amazing speed. Good Lord! There are 3 experts hiding in a mansion. 2 of them are at the peak of the 2nd rank, and the last one is a 3rd-rank true saint. How ruthless! Although Jian Wushuang was wearing a mask, his expression under the mask was quite interesting. He glanced at the 4 people behind him. The aura they emitted was extremely shocking. It seems that the experts in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom have been alerted by my slaughter, Jian Wushuang murmured. According to the information given to him by the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, his target had always been to live alone in the mansion. Few experts would stay with him. However, when he arrived this time, he had just started to cover his soul. He did not find any true saint, so he made his move. Unexpectedly, as soon as he made his move, 3 powerful true saints immediately appeared in the mansion. 2 peak rank 2 true saints and a rank 3 true saint. This scared Jian Wushuang, and he chose to flee without hesitation. These true saints obviously did not intend to let him go, so they followed him to kill him. Hunting. It's been a long time. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. In his previous life, he had been hunted down many times when he was still weak. Every time he had narrowly escaped death. But in this life, although he had been cultivating for hundreds of years, it seemed to be the first time he was being hunted down. But this is what I want, Jian Wushuang thought. Only in this way can I have a sense of adventure, and only in this way can I inspire my courage. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands and looked behind him. Come on, this time I'm going to take risks and stimulate myself. I hope you can force me into a desperate situation. This is the only way I can find a chance to break through. Jian Wushuang was not nervous at all. On the contrary, he was looking forward to it. Not far behind him, for true saint experts were following Jian Wushuang closely. One of the 4 people on the must-kill list was a black-robed elder with an evil aura. The black-robed elder's face was cold and his eyes were indescribably cold, but he was secretly glad. Fortunately, I was alert after receiving the message and invited 3 good friends to hide in my mansion as soon as possible. Otherwise, the black-robed elder could not imagine what he would become if he did not have these 3 good friends. After all, he was only a rank 2 true saint, and his strength was inferior to that of Holy Master Huizong. Even Holy Master Huizong was killed by him. If he met him alone, he would definitely die. Fortunately, he was smart and reacted quickly. I'm not dead. So he's the one who's going to die now. The black-robed elder stared at Jian Wushuang with cold eyes. The 3 people next to him also had solemn expressions. This expert from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance is so fast. A short-haired man in a short robe said in a low voice. This short-haired man was the strongest among the 4, the sect master of the 3rd rank true Saint Gold Mountain. He is indeed fast. His comprehension of the laws of space and time should be extremely high. With just a few of us, it will be very difficult for us to catch up to him, said a young lady dressed in green beside him. Don't be anxious. I have already reported this matter to Lord Wu. Lord Wu has already rushed here as fast as he can. In addition, he has already mobilized powerful experts from the nearby territories and is currently rushing here as well. As long as we can follow him and report his location to him at any time, our people will be able to think of a way to form an encirclement around him. At that time, it will be difficult for him to escape even if he has wings, the last white-haired man said. Right, he must die, the black-robed old man said coldly as well. At the edge of this realm, in a secluded valley, there was a hidden spatial tunnel. Light shone and 5 figures walked out from the spatial tunnel in succession. The person in the lead was the purple-robed old man who had gone to the Divine Hall to meet with the Magic Note King previously. The purple-robed elder was the Master Wu whom the Golden Mountain Sect Master and the others had mentioned. Master Wu's position in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom was second only to that of the Magic Note King. The impact of this incident was so great that even the king was furious. Therefore, Master Wu had personally asked about Jian Wushuang's death. We are only at the edge of this realm. We are still far away from where the Golden Mountain Sect Master and the others are. I'm afraid we won't be able to get there in time. Master Wu narrowed his eyes and muttered, Where are the others? Lord Wu, after your orders were given, not only this realm but also the surrounding realms, as long as there are experts who are at the true saint level or above, they will all rush over as quickly as possible. Right now, There are already 18 experts who have arrived near the sect leader of the Golden Mountain sect. A true saint behind him said. 18. Lord Wu frowned. Not enough, not enough. Tell the others to hurry over. Besides, that person from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance is not weak. He could even kill Holy Master Huizong. Moreover, he seems to have the Burning God poison, which is used to counter the immortal body. Under such circumstances, even 2 or 3 rank 1 true saints working together would not be enough to defeat him. We shouldn't be too scattered. It's best if we have a few more people working together. Don't give him the chance to break them one by one. Yes. That true saint nodded respectfully. Has he arrived? Lord Wu asked again. Not yet, but he will arrive soon. In addition, our people have already sent a suppression-type holy treasure to the Golden Mountain sect master. That true saint said. Very good. Lord Wu nodded slightly. They had to be fully prepared for the siege. Although Jian Wushuang's aura was only that of a divine master, everyone thought that he was just hiding his aura. His true realm must be above the true saint realm. To deal with the true saint realm, of course, they had to use all kinds of methods. They were prepared for the soul annihilation and the suppression of the treasure. Let's go. Lord Wu and the others also rushed there. In the vast void, Jian Wushuang was still running forward rapidly. While he was running, he found that there were many more auras around him. They are really fast. In such a short time, so many experts have gathered. They are worthy of the magic note divine kingdom. Jian Wushuang sighed, but his eyes narrowed slightly. There are already many experts gathered around me, but they are not very strong. They don't have absolute confidence that they can keep me here, so they don't act rashly. They are waiting for more experts to gather and form a more complete encirclement, as if they want to completely cut off my chance to escape. Jian Wushuang had already guessed the intentions of the higher-ups of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. I can't continue like this. Anyway, I've given you a chance. Whether you can take me down next will depend on your own abilities. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly, but his figure accelerated instantly. Swish! Jian Wushuang's speed directly burst out. Previously, he had been able to restrain his speed and did not use his full strength. The reason for this was to give the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom a chance. Now that the opportunity was almost given, many experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom had gathered around him. Only then did his speed completely burst out. His burst of speed was more than 10 times faster than his previous speed. After all, his speed was already so fast that even a rank 2 true saint could barely keep up with him. But now, his speed had increased by 10 times. What did that mean? Oh no! Oh my god! His speed! Sect Master Jinshan and the others behind Jian Wushuang were shocked when they saw Jian Wushuang's burst of speed. Then they immediately sent a message to Lord Wu. Lord Wu, for some reason, the man from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance suddenly increased his speed tenfold. We can't keep up with him. Sect Master Jinshan sent the message personally. Although he was a rank 3 true saint, he was not good at speed, so he could not keep up with Jian Wushuang's speed either. If he was like this, there was no need to mention the others. Damn it! Lord Wu's expression turned extremely ugly when he received the news. He immediately changed his plan and said, I have no choice but to act immediately. Where is the man now? Who is in front of him? Lord, both Sky Mound King and Stone Saint are in front of him. The true saint beside him said. Sky Mound King and Stone Saint? Lord Wu's eyes suddenly lit up. These two are true second-rank true saints, and Sky Mound King is good at fighting with others, while Stone Saint's protective abilities are extremely strong. If the two of them work together, unless that person is a third-rank true saint, they can definitely stop them. That's how it should be. The true saint beside him nodded. Quick! Send a message to Sky Mound King and Stone Saint. Tell them to work together and intercept that person. There's no need for them to kill that person from the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. They only need to stall him and not give him a chance to escape. Wait for the Golden Mountain Sect Master and true Lord Hun to arrive before killing him. Lord Wu said. Yes. That true saint immediately went to send the message. Two figures stood side by side in the vast void. One of these two people wore a gray robe and had a cold expression. He held a pitch-black long whip in his hand. The long whip was covered with all kinds of pitch-black scales, just like a cold venomous snake. The other person was a tall man who was nearly 3 meters tall. His body was as strong as a mountain. This tall man had his arms crossed and carried a 2-meter-long giant axe on his back. Kiki, Stone Saint, I never expected that I would be able to join forces with you one day. The gray-robed elder, who held a black whip and had a cold expression, said with a strange laugh. I never expected it either. The tall man, who was nearly 3 meters tall as a mountain, was Stone Saint. His expression was cold, and his voice was very calm. Although the two of them were experts under the magic note Divine Kingdom, they had once crossed swords with each other. This was not a huge matter, and it was not to the point of them fighting to the death. However, the two of them would not have any interactions. However, due to Lord Wu's orders, the two of them had no choice but to join forces. According to the location Lord Wu sent us, the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance member should be arriving soon. With our strength, can we really stop him? Sky Mound King said. Why? Are you afraid? The Stone Saint glanced at the Sky Mound King. How can I not be afraid? He killed Holy Master Huizong directly. In terms of strength, Holy Master Huizong is slightly stronger than both of us. Furthermore, I am not as strong as you in terms of body protection. If we really fight later, that person might kill me directly if he is slightly careless. After all, he has the god-burning poison in his hands. The Sky Mound King said. There was indeed a trace of worry in his eyes. If you are afraid, you can just hide behind me later. There is no need for you to fight him head-on. All you need to do is wave your whip and stop him, said the Stone Saint. That won't be a problem. A smile appeared on the Sky Mound King's face. At this moment, the sound of rushing wind suddenly came from the distant void. They're coming. The eyes of Sky Mound King and Stone Saint narrowed, and their faces turned solemn. Jian Wushuang was the one who was rushing over. His speed was so fast that he almost left the experts behind him far behind. However, at this moment, he saw the Sky Mound King and Stone Saint standing side by side in front of him. Two true saints? Jian Wushuang's expression changed. Do you want to use these two to stop or stall me? Then wait for the other experts to arrive and kill me? Jian Wushuang chuckled, but his eyes turned cold. I don't have time to play with you too. So, die. Jian Wushuang's body shook as he performed the 3 secret skills at the same time. At the same time, buzz, a shocking and supreme sword essence suddenly burst out. The supreme sword essence hidden in the Blood Mountain sword had been guided out by Jian Wushuang. As Jian Wushuang improved his sword principle greatly, he naturally guided more sword essence, which also improved his battle strength greatly. The supreme sword essence swept down on him, making him like a master of sword principle. Kill! Jian Wushuang's figure flashed, and the silver light suddenly burst out. His figure was ghostly, and streaks of silver light burst out instantly, shuttling through the void. In an instant, he appeared in front of the Sky Mound King and the Stone Saint. What terrifying speed! Sky Mound King was shocked. Sky Mound King, you retreat first. The Stone Saint let out a low shout. A large amount of earth rule power gathered around his divine body, and in the blink of an eye, it had turned into a heavy mountain blocking Jian Wushuang. As for Sky Mound King, he followed the Stone Saint's instructions and retreated immediately. He wanted to retreat further and use his long whip to trap Jian Wushuang. However, at this moment Jian Wushuang pointed with one hand. Immediately, a surge of space-time principle power burst out. Space-time divine skill, 1-point divine skill. This move was determined by Jian Wushuang's comprehension of space-time principle. 120 years ago, he could only affect ordinary rank 1 true saints. However, in these 120 years, he had made great progress in the space-time principle. Now, he had reached the limit of the stage, which was comparable to many rank 3 true saints. If he used this move under such circumstances, buzz, without any warning, the figures of the Sky Mound King and the Stone Saint froze there. Then Jian Wushuang struck. A cold yet gorgeous sword shadow suddenly swept out. Swordsmanship. Star Dream. Previously, Jian Wushuang had not guided the sword shadow in the Blood Mountain sword. He had only used it by himself, but in the end, he still killed Holy Master Huatsong, a rank 2 true saint. Now that Jian Wushuang had fully guided the sword essence in the Blood Mountain sword, his battle strength had increased by several times. Naturally, this sword move was even more terrifying. It was incredibly fast. The most terrifying part of Star Dream was its tearing power and its speed. Under the heaven-designated skill, both Stone Saint and Tian Mound King were unable to move. They could only let the cold and gorgeous sword shadow attack them. The sword shadow first slashed at Stone Saint's divine body. Stone Saint's body-protecting ability was strong. The surface of his body was formed by the power of the earth principles, which formed a thick mountain. This mountain might be able to withstand the attacks of many rank 2 true saints, but facing Jian Wushuang's sword, whoosh! A large amount of the power of the earth principles spread out at a terrifying speed. The defensive means formed by the power of the earth principles completely collapsed. Jian Wushuang's Blood Mountain sword continued to tear the armor on Stone Saint's body. Then it passed through Stone Saint's divine body. Then, the sword light continued to slash toward Tian Mound King. Tian Mound King's protective ability was far inferior to Stone Saint's. Under the sword shadow, his divine body was instantly defeated. In just one exchange, the 2 rank 2 true saint experts who had intended to stop Jian Wushuang died on the spot. Of course, Jian Wushuang had also consumed a total of 11 drops of the god-burning poison. With my current strength, it would be easy for me to kill an ordinary rank 2 true saint with the help of the Star Dream first move, the heaven-designated skill, and the god-burning poison. Jian Wushuang smiled and waved his hand to kill the 2 subordinates of the rank 2 true saint. Then he continued to run forward. The news of the deaths of Tian Mound King and Stone Saint reached the ears of the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. What? Tian Mound King and Stone Saint joined hands. But they couldn't stop him and were killed by him. Tian Mound King and Stone Saint died in one move? How could he be so powerful? He's too powerful. The experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom who were following Jian Wushuang or coming from all directions were shocked. They were shocked by Jian Wushuang's strength. In the distance, Lord Wu, who was rushing over, was also shocked when he heard the news. How is this possible? Even a peak rank 2 true saint couldn't do anything to Tian Mound King and Stone Saint in a short period of time, but this man killed them both in one move. Could it be that his strength has reached the level of a rank 3 true saint? Lord Wu could not help but think. In his opinion, only true saints above the 3rd rank had the ability to do this. Humph! Even if it's a 3rd rank true saint, he would definitely die if he massacred the experts under the Magic Note Divine Kingdom in our territory. Lord Wu's voice was ice-cold. Pass down the order. The Heaven-Cleaving Alliance's person is extremely powerful and might reach the 3rd rank true saint level. Tell our people to be extremely careful and try not to get close to him, but we have to think of a way to find out his exact location. In addition, inform Gold King to personally come over. Gold King. The few true saints behind Lord Wu could not help but be shocked. Gold King? This was definitely an extremely terrifying existence in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. Long ago, the Magic Note Divine King had used a great method to establish the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. Along the way, he had led many experts under his command into a frenzied battle. More than half of these experts had already died, but there were still a few who survived. These experts who survived had already stayed in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, occupying many territories and becoming dukes. And amongst them, 2 supreme existences had directly become kings in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. These 2 kings were the Gold King and Wind King. They were extremely powerful and had long since stepped into the 3rd level true saint realm. They were the 2 strongest people in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom apart from the Magic Note King. Normally, these 2 supreme existences did not care about the affairs of the world. Unless the king personally summoned them, they would not care about anyone. Even Lord Wu could only invite the 2 kings but could not give orders. Furthermore, whether the other party would agree or not was a completely different matter. Go. This matter concerns the king's face. The king is extremely furious. The Gold King should have agreed to appear, Lord Wu said. Yes. The true saint nodded and immediately sent the message. After a while, the result came out. Lord, His Highness King Jin has agreed to help. He is now rushing to the nearest space passage, the true saint said. Great. Lord Wu's eyes immediately lit up. There is no doubt about King Jin's strength. If he acts personally, he can easily kill that man. Before King Jin arrives, let's not act rashly. We just need to know his location. Lord Wu quickly gave the order to the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom who had joined in the killing of Jian Wushuang. In the vast void, Jian Wushuang was still rushing forward at high speed. It seems that killing 2 rank 2 true saints had intimidated these people. Now they are all far away from me and don't dare to approach me. Jian Wushuang smiled and swept his soul power in all directions. He was so fast that almost none of the experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom could keep up with him. Although they could not keep up with him, they still had a way to know his location. For example, they had already given orders to all the cultivators in the territory to take action. Countless experts stood in every corner to observe and check. As soon as Jian Wushuang passed by, they would immediately notify him. Of course, they could find out where Jian Wushuang was. But even if they knew his location, no one dared to come forward and stop him in a short period of time. Even 2 rank 2 true saints were easily killed by Jian Wushuang. If they wanted to stop Jian Wushuang, they had to be the rank 3 true saints themselves. However, even in the vast Magic Note Divine Kingdom, there were very few rank 3 true saints in the current territory. The only rank 3 true saint who had been mobilized in a short time was the Golden Mountain Sect Master who had been following Jian Wushuang. I can't go on like this. My position has always been under the surveillance of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. Although no one dares to stop me now, it won't be long before the real experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom arrive to kill me. It seems that I have to think of a way to escape. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes slightly. Jian Wushuang continued to flee. In the void far away from Jian Wushuang, the sect master of the Golden Mountain Sect and the others were also following him. However, because Jian Wushuang had long disappeared from their sight, they could only rely on other people's messages to find his location. That guy really can escape. Even when Tianmount King and Stone Saint joined hands, they couldn't stop him. Instead, he killed him. The black-robed elder sighed. Humph. He's just a turtle in a jar, struggling to survive. Golden Mountain Sect Master was very disdainful. But at this time, no, Golden Mountain Sect Master, something's wrong. The green-clothed girl suddenly exclaimed. What's wrong? Sect Master Jinshan looked over in confusion. It's the direction the man fled to. Sect Master Jinshan, haven't you noticed? The green-clothed girl said with an interesting expression. Sect Master Jinshan frowned and quickly thought about Jian Wushuang's current position and the direction he had fled to. The next moment, Sect Master Jinshan suddenly raised his head, and a fierce gleam flashed in his eyes. Oh no! Golden Mountain Sect. The direction he fled to is exactly where Golden Mountain Sect is. Quick! Let's go there. Golden Mountain Sect Master was really anxious this time. He did not care about how many experts Jian Wushuang had killed in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. After all, those who were killed did not have much to do with him. At most, they were under the command of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. In fact, he did not care about whether he could kill Jian Wushuang or not. But now it was different. Jian Wushuang was fleeing in the direction of the Golden Mountain Sect, which was his sect. It would be fine if Jian Wushuang just flew over the Golden Mountain Sect. But if he really used some means or directly broke into the Golden Mountain Sect. Quick! Hurry up! The Golden Mountain Sect Master's voice was as anxious as fire. At the same time, he immediately sent a message to the experts in the Golden Mountain Sect, asking them to fully activate the sect-protecting formation of the Golden Mountain Sect and prepare to defend against the enemy. Even so, he still felt uneasy, because he knew that if Jian Wushuang really rushed into the Golden Mountain Sect with his strength, the Golden Mountain Sect would definitely suffer. And most importantly, he also knew that the sect-protecting formation of the Golden Mountain Sect was not very powerful. If Jian Wushuang used his swordsmanship at full strength, He could completely tear the sect-protecting formation apart. Now, he only hoped that Jian Wushuang would pass by the Golden Mountain sect and not pay too much attention to it. In fact, Jian Wushuang really did not know about the existence of the Golden Mountain sect. He was not familiar with the territory of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. Now, he was just running for his life and did not care about directions at all. It was purely a coincidence that he was going in the direction of the Golden Mountain sect. At this moment, Jian Wushuang had already seen the ancient sect in the huge canyon ahead. The sect looked extremely mysterious under the cover of a great formation. Jian Wushuang's soul power swept through and directly saw the scene inside the sect clearly through the great formation. There are so many experts in this sect. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. His soul power could clearly sense the aura of many experts hidden in the sect. Among these experts, there were more than a dozen immortal saints. Although most of them were false saints, there were 2 true saints. This was true for immortal saints, but there were even more divine masters. The entire sect was densely packed with all kinds of divine masters' auras. There were many great divine masters. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang's eyes suddenly lit up. I have an idea. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang, who had been frantically running forward, suddenly changed his direction and rushed toward the ancient sect below. The sect-protecting formation covering the entire sect was immediately activated. Although I don't know who founded this sect and what position they stand on, I can only apologize for letting me leave safely today, Jian Wushuang said softly, but the Blood Mountain sword had already appeared in his hand. Endless sword essence rolled, and in the next moment, the Blood Mountain sword slashed toward the sect-protecting formation at lightning speed. What Jian Wushuang displayed was a move that focused on attack power, Xianxia's move. This powerful move, together with Jian Wushuang's powerful divine power, directly hit the sect-protecting formation. Immediately, there was a violent rumble on the sect-protecting formation, and then the entire formation collapsed. It's broken. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, but in the next moment, he suddenly rushed into the sect below. The huge sect was also in an uproar because of Jian Wushuang's sudden arrival. In the void not far away, the Golden Mountain sect master looked anxious and quickened his pace. Suddenly, Golden Mountain sect master, I just received news that the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance has broken the sect-protecting formation of Golden Mountain sect and directly entered the sect, said the green-clothed girl next to him. Damn it! A violent aura suddenly burst out of the Golden Mountain sect master's body, and his speed increased again, directly shaking off the few true saints beside him. At this moment, the Golden Mountain sect was indeed in chaos. Golden Mountain sect had been warned by the Golden Mountain sect master to be on guard. Not only did they activate the sect-protecting formation, but the dozen or so immortal saints of the Golden Mountain sect were also ready to deal with the possible changes that might happen next. In the end, the change did happen. However, the change was completely beyond their imagination. Jian Wushuang directly broke through their sect-protecting formation with one sword move, and then he directly rushed down. The dozen or so immortal saints of the Golden Mountain sect immediately went up to meet him, but in just a moment, 4 of them were killed by Jian Wushuang on the spot. The others were scared and fled. After that, Jian Wushuang did not linger in the fight. Instead, he directly rushed into a nearby temple and disappeared from everyone's sight for a short while. When Jian Wushuang appeared again, he was still wearing a gray robe and a gray mask. However, anyone who was careful could see that he had changed to a magic weapon and held a blood sword in his hand. In addition, he seemed to have grown a little taller. Of course, the experts of the Gold Mountain sect who were in chaos did not have the time to care about this. Run, run, run. If we don't run, we will die here. In the Gold Mountain sect, countless disciples and experts rushed out and frantically fled in all directions. Only the immortal saints stayed behind to stop or kill Jian Wushuang. Among them, there was a young man in a golden robe. Run, everyone, run! The golden-robed young man also looked panicked. He kept screaming, and no one around him noticed him. This was normal. After all, the Golden Mountain sect was a very powerful sect in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. Its sect master was a rank 3 true saint, and there were too many powerful disciples under him. It was impossible for all the powerful disciples to know each other. Moreover, the aura emitted by the young man with the gold token was only at the Divine Master level. In this riot, of course, he would not attract attention. He shouted and fled. Soon, he and his people escaped from the Golden Mountain sect and fled into the void not far away. In the Golden Mountain sect, Jian Wushuang, who was wearing a gray robe and a gray mask, was still wreaking havoc with his cold and dark aura. He kept waving the blood sword in his hand, which also emitted a brilliant blood-red sword light. However, the power of the blood-red sword light was not very strong. At least, in the eyes of the immortal saints of the Golden Mountain sect, it was not very strong. It could even be said to be very weak. What's going on? How come the power of his swordsmanship has been weakened so much? What's wrong with this guy? No matter what, let's stay away from him. We just need to ask the disciples of the Golden Mountain sect to leave and wait for the sect master to arrive. The immortal saints of the Golden Mountain sect stood in the void not far away and looked at Jian Wushuang, who was in a frenzy. Previously, when Jian Wushuang broke the formation and fought them head-on, although it was only a short fight, Jian Wushuang's strength had frightened them. Because of this, several immortal saints had died. Now, although Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship was much weaker than before, they still did not dare to act rashly. Time passed. After a long while, the Golden Mountain sect master finally arrived in person. Before he arrived at the Golden Mountain sect, Jian Wushuang still did not stop destroying it. Almost the entire Golden Mountain sect had been destroyed by him. However, the expert disciples of the Golden Mountain sect had already fled far away. Sect Master! The immortal saints of the Golden Mountain sect all looked at Sect Master. Sect Master Golden Mountain looked down at the Golden Mountain sect and saw the concrete corpse lying on the ground. He could not help but curse. Bastard! I will tear you into pieces today. Without any hesitation, the Golden Mountain sect master made his move. Because he knew Jian Wushuang's battle record and that Jian Wushuang had killed both Tian Mound King and Stone Saint in one move, even the Golden Mountain sect master did not dare to be careless. As soon as he made his move, he went all out. Rumble! A majestic power gathered on the Golden Mountain sect master's body. Before the sect master of the Gold Mountain sect arrived, the terrifying power had already formed waves of airwaves and rushed toward Jian Wushuang. However, under the impact of the airwaves, an unbelievable scene appeared. Under the impact of the airwaves, Jian Wushuang, who was wearing a gray robe and a gray mask, began to collapse at a speed visible to the naked eye. Yes, he collapsed. It was obvious that he could not withstand the blast and collapsed directly. What? Sect Master Jinshan was stunned. The immortal saints of the Golden Mountain sect were also stunned. Previously, Jian Wushuang could easily kill them with one sword and one person. He was terrifyingly strong. Even if he was not as strong as Sect Master Jinshan, he was not much weaker. But now, before the attack of Golden Mountain sect master arrived, he could not block the airwave formed by divine power? How could this be? Golden Mountain sect master moved forward and grabbed the head of the gray-masked man like a golden lightning bolt. With a slight force, the man's head exploded and the mask fell off. A cold and stiff face was revealed. This is a corpse puppet? Sect Master Jinshan's pupils shrank. He could tell at a glance that the person he killed was actually already dead. He had just been refined into a corpse puppet. I've been played. Sect Master Jinshan immediately reacted, but he was furious. It's actually a corpse puppet. No, it wasn't a corpse puppet that killed the four of us in an instant. Oh right, after he rushed down and defeated us head-on, he barged into a palace. At that time he left our sight. Yes, that was the time. The immortal saints of the Golden Mountain sect is also completely understood. Obviously, when the other party entered the hall and disappeared from their sight for a short period of time, the other party had already put on a disguise. He made a corpse puppet wear the unique attire of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, which was a gray robe and a gray mask. Then he wreaked havoc in the Golden Mountain sect. The immortal saints of the Golden Mountain sect had been scared out of their wits because they had been killed by 4 people in the previous fight. They did not dare to fight with this corpse puppet at all. Even though they could see that the sword technique used by this corpse puppet was very weak, they still did not dare. They were still waiting for the arrival of the sect master of the Golden Mountain sect. However, after the sect master of the Golden Mountain sect arrived personally, the other party's original body had already fled far away with the disciples of the Golden Mountain sect. We've been fooled. We've been fooled by that person. We have so many immortal saints, but we were actually frightened by a corpse puppet, and it's only a divine master-level corpse puppet. Good, what a good escape. The immortal saints of the Golden Mountain sect were all shocked and furious. Their roars echoed in the whole world. Master of the Golden Mountain sect was also furious, but if he was angry again, he had lost track of Jian Wushuang, and no one knew where he was. It was almost impossible for him to chase after Jian Wushuang. Taking a deep breath, the Golden Mountain sect master took out a token and said, "Lord Wu, that man escaped." There was a void some distance away from the Golden Mountain sect. More than 10 figures were gathered together. They were disciples who had just escaped from the Golden Mountain sect. That was close. That man was too terrifying. He destroyed the sect-protecting formation of our Golden Mountain sect with one sword strike and killed 4 elders in a single move. Only our sect master could match such terrifying strength. I guess so. Fortunately, this person was only one person. Although he was wreaking havoc, he didn't have the intention to attack ordinary disciples like us. That's how we were able to escape. Otherwise, if he really went on a killing spree, countless disciples like us would have died. These disciples sighed one after another. The young man in the golden robe was also among these disciples. It's been a while since we left the Gold Mountain sect. The experts of the Gold Mountain sect and the Magic Note Divine Kingdom should have known that it was just a corpse puppet that was destroyed. Jian Wushuang sat in the grass. A wicked smile appeared on his face. Through the conversations of the surrounding disciples, he also knew that he had just gone to the Golden Mountain sect. In the Golden Mountain sect, he had put on a good show to escape. He had gotten the corpse puppet with the battle strength of an invincible divine master from the secret realm a long time ago. It was wearing his gray robe and gray mask to attract everyone's attention, and he had fled with the disciples of the Golden Mountain sect. He quietly left the Gold Mountain sect and left everyone's sight. It's all thanks to the special gray robe and gray mask of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, which can change the aura emitted by people. Otherwise, those immortal saints would have been able to tell that it was a corpse puppet at a glance. Jian Wushuang said with a chuckle. He believed that he should be out of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom sight by now. He would naturally be able to go wherever he wanted. Jian Wushuang was deep in thought. Suddenly, "Senior brother," a gentle voice suddenly sounded. A female disciple in a white robe next to Jian Wushuang looked at him and said, "Senior brother, you look unfamiliar. Which peak do you come from?" The female disciple in a white robe asked casually, but Jian Wushuang could not help smiling bitterly at her words. He could understand that there should be several peaks in the Golden Mountain sect that represented different sections. However, he was not a disciple of the Golden Mountain sect, so he did not know what peaks there were. "As for me, I'm from Baiming Peak," Jian Wushuang said casually. The white-robed female disciple was stunned, and the surrounding disciples immediately looked at him in unison. "Haha, it seems that I've been exposed. I'd better leave first," Jian Wushuang said with a faint smile. His figure instantly floated out and left the place at the fastest speed. The remaining disciples of the Golden Mountain sect were still standing there in a daze. It took them a long time to realize what had happened. Then, they immediately sent a message to the elders of the Golden Mountain sect. Due to the wanton destruction of the corpse puppet, more than 1/3 of the entire Golden Mountain sect had been turned into ruins. In the void above the ruins, many experts were standing there. In addition to the immortal saints of the Golden Mountain sect, the true saint experts who had besieged Jian Wushuang had also arrived. Not long after, Lord Wu came in person. The sect master of the Golden Mountain sect recounted what had just happened in detail. After saying that, he said in a low voice, "Lord Wu, I'm incompetent. I've let down the king." Lord Wu glanced at the sect master of the Golden Mountain sect and waved his hand after a long while. "It's not entirely your fault. First of all, The man of the heaven-cleaving alliance concealed his aura so well that no one could see his specific realm, which gave him a chance to escape. Secondly, that man was too cunning. Who would have thought that he would use such a move? The people around nodded. Indeed, to be able to use the golden transcendence shell right under the noses of a large group of immortal saints without being discovered, it could not be said that these immortal saints were stupid. It could only be said that the other party was too cunning and his methods were too powerful. Lord Wu, that person has already completely escaped our sight. It will be difficult for us to find him again, said a true saint beside him. Humph, so what if he has escaped our sight? As long as he is still in the magic note divine kingdom, he will definitely not be able to escape. Lord Wu's gaze was cold, but his words carried absolute confidence. Everyone, you might not know this, but I came out this time to take precautions. I brought out the monarch's imprisoning dragon compass as well. Imprisoning dragon compass? Everyone present, including the Golden Mountain sect master, was greatly shocked. The dragon imprisoning compass was a treasure that the Magic Note King had paid a huge price to specially hire someone to refine. It was an extremely unique array-type treasure. The compass contained an enormous array formation that was indestructible. It could be large or small, and it could be freely controlled. Back then, when the dragon imprisoning compass was in the Magic Note King's hands, the Magic Note King could even use the compass to cast an array formation that covered the entire endless territories of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. And now, even if the person who possessed the dragon imprisoning compass was Lord Wu, in Lord Wu's hands, the power that the compass could unleash was definitely not small. Bring me the star map of this realm, Lord Wu instructed. Immediately, a gigantic star map appeared in front of everyone. Previously, when I received a message from the Golden Mountain sect master and learned that that person had escaped, I immediately gave the order to seal off all spatial passageways in this realm. In other words, that person did not have the chance to use spatial passageways and could only rely on his own strength to fly. And back then, when he relied on the strength of his feet to fly, even though his speed was extremely fast, I treated him as a third-level true saint who specialized in speed. Less than 2 hours had passed since he disappeared from our sight. In these 2 hours, the area that he could fly to was from here to here. At most, he would be in this area. Lord Wu then used his divine power to draw a region on the star map. This region was a region around the Golden Mountain sect. This region was nothing compared to a large region. However, just this region covered over 1,000 cities, and it also included all sorts of tall mountains and dense forests. It was too easy to hide a person in such a vast place. Lord Wu's gaze was cold. After locking onto this area, he waved his hand and a golden compass immediately appeared in his hand. There was also a golden dragon pattern on this compass. As Lord Wu's divine power flowed into the compass immediately burst out with resplendent golden light. In the next moment, it roared. A gigantic golden dragon phantom rose up from the compass out of thin air. A layer of majestic golden light rose straight into the void at the highest point. After that, the golden light spread out in all directions at a terrifying speed. The speed of its spread was far beyond imagination. In just a short moment, the golden light had already crossed hundreds of millions of miles and covered the area that Lord Wu had pointed out on the star map, including the many cities. After doing all this, Lord Wu put away the compass and a cold smile appeared on his face. I've already used the magic formation of the dragon imprisoning compass to completely seal off this area. From today onward, this area can only be entered and cannot be exited. As for that person from the heaven-cleaving alliance, he has naturally been completely sealed off in this area by me. Next, we just need to think of a way to find him in this area, Lord Wu said coldly. In an ordinary city in the territory around the Golden Mountain sect, this city was quite prosperous. There were many cultivators, and they were all quite powerful. In a tavern, a few cultivators were sitting at a table, chatting leisurely. Have you heard? The territory we're in has been completely sealed off. Sealed off? I've heard about it as well. It's said that all spatial passageways have stopped operating. The territory of more than 1,000 cities around us has been completely sealed off by a layer of the array. and the cultivators within the array are only allowed to enter and not exit. It's indeed completely sealed off. Array? A few days ago, I sensed a golden light suffusing out from the void. Could it be that golden light? Yes, it's that golden light. I heard that it was an order personally given by the Magic Note King. All the upper echelons have participated in it. Their goal is to kill an expert. To be precise, it's an important criminal. Even the king has been alarmed? What's the background of that person? The tavern was not noisy to begin with. Upon hearing the conversation of the four, many people gathered around. Soon, the whole tavern began to talk about this matter. No one noticed that a gold-robed man was sitting quietly by the window at the edge of the tavern, holding a glass of wine. His expression was indifferent, as if he did not fit in with the noise around him. But in his heart, Jian Wushuang felt extremely strange. He has directly sealed off more than 1,000 cities in an area and stopped all the spatial passageways in this area. He wants to completely trap me here and not give me a chance to escape. Jian Wushuang praised in his heart. When he had escaped from the Gold Mountain sect, the first thing he wanted to do was to use the spatial passages to leave this place. He did not expect that all the spatial passages would stop working. He had no choice but to hide in this city for the time being. Then he heard that the higher-ups of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom had sealed off this area. It's definitely not enough to seal off this area. If nothing goes wrong, the higher-ups of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom will find a way to thoroughly search this territory and find me at all costs. Jian Wushuang thought to himself. Although he knew this, he was not worried at all. Because the higher-ups of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom would definitely treat him as a true saint and an immortal saint no matter what. If he was really an immortal saint, it would be easier to find him hiding in this area. However, he was just a divine master. There were thousands of cities in this area. How many divine masters were there? It was an astronomical figure. Even great divine masters were countless. He was only one of the so many people, so it was not easy to find him. Moreover, when he met the higher-ups of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, he had worn a special costume of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. That costume had changed his aura. Now that he was not wearing that costume, the higher-ups of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom could not recognize him at all. Even those Golden Mountain sect disciples who had met him before. When Jian Wushuang had fled, he had deliberately controlled his facial muscles to change his appearance. Now, even if those Golden Mountain sect disciples were standing in front of him, they might not be able to recognize him. Under such circumstances, who would recognize him as the important criminal? Although the people of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom cannot find me, it's troublesome to be locked in this area. Jian Wushuang shook his head slightly. Forget it. I'll find a place to cultivate first. After leaving the tavern, Jian Wushuang soon arrived at a secret room. In the secret room, Jian Wushuang was sitting alone with his legs crossed. His eyes were shining with a strange light. Although I didn't feel too much pressure from being chased this time, after experiencing a chase, I was also somewhat stimulated. I feel that the bottleneck in my body has loosened a little. Let's prepare to take a look first. Jian Wushuang smiled. Soon, he closed his eyes. Time passed, and a month passed in the blink of an eye. During this month, just as Jian Wushuang had expected, the higher-ups of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom searched the cities and territories continuously in order to find him. And now, the search had come to the city where he was. In the void, several figures were floating side by side. These figures all had extremely powerful auras. The Magic Note Divine Kingdom was located in a relatively prosperous place in endless territories. It controlled a total of 36 territories and had many experts. There were more than 100 experts at the True Saint level alone, and this person had killed Jian Wushuang. The Magic Note Divine Kingdom had made a big move. Now, there were more than 60 True Saints who had rushed to this sealed area. There were many True Saints in charge of searching the various cities. For example, the few people that appeared in the sky above the city were all True Saints. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Vast soul power spread out from the bodies of these few True Saints, covering the entire city below. There are many cultivators in this city, but there isn't a single immortal saint. As for divine master level experts, there are countless of them. However, there are only about 200 people above the Divine Master level, a purple-robed woman said. Although that person's strength is tyrannical, and his combat strength is close to that of a third-level true saint, his ability to conceal his aura is very impressive. All this time, the divine power and aura he has displayed are only at the Divine Master level. Therefore, those Divine Master are within our search range. A tall man over 2 meters tall said coldly. Forget about those ordinary Divine Master. As long as they are at the Divine Master level or above, call them over and conduct a divine power inspection one by one. The violet-robed woman nodded. The next moment, all cultivators at the Divine Master level or above, come over. Anyone who disobeys will die. The violet-robed woman's icy cold voice that carried boundless might reverberated throughout the entire city. The entire city immediately began to stir. As for the cultivators at the Divine Master level or above in the city, when they sensed this divine might, they trembled in shock and did not dare to disobey it in the slightest. One figure after another rose into the air. In the blink of an eye, more than 200 cultivators above the Divine Master level in the city had gathered here. Jian Wushuang was also in the crowd. At this moment, the purple-clothed woman took out a special crystal. That crystal, is it for the divine power test? Jian Wushuang's pupils constricted slightly. He recognized this crystal. It was a special crystal used to test the divine power level of a cultivator. Under normal circumstances, as long as the cultivator's divine power poured into the crystal would have a reaction. Based on the reaction, one could know the specific level of the cultivator. No matter how good the cultivator was at concealing his aura, in front of this divine power test stone, there was no hiding. The higher-ups of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom are quite smart. They know how to use the divine power test stone to determine my realm and cultivation. If I really used a secret skill to hide my realm, I would definitely be detected by the divine power test stone. Unfortunately, they are doomed to miscalculate. Jian Wushuang smiled secretly. All the higher-ups of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom had assumed that he was an immortal saint and had only concealed his aura. However, they had never expected that Jian Wushuang had not concealed his aura at all. His realm and cultivation were that of a genuine divine master. A genuine divine master cultivator would only get one result after using the divine power testing stone to test his cultivation. All of you, come forward and take the test. The purple-clothed woman's voice was cold. The divine masters and great divine masters in front of them did not hesitate and went forward to take the test. The test results were naturally divine masters and great divine masters. Before long, it was Jian Wushuang's turn. Next, the purple-clothed woman said. Her cold eyes looked directly at Jian Wushuang, as if she wanted to see through him completely. Jian Wushuang was obviously frightened by the purple-clothed woman's gaze. He did not dare to look directly into her eyes. He walked forward with fear and poured his divine power into the divine power testing stone in front of him. The divine power testing stone immediately burst out with a dazzling light. The light was much more dazzling than the other great divine masters, but the color was still the same silver. A peak great divine master? And the light is so dazzling. I'm afraid that he's an invincible divine master. The purple-clothed woman looked at Jian Wushuang in surprise, but she did not care. They were looking for a super-existence who could kill 2 second-level true saints, Tian Mound King and Stone Saint, in one move, not just a great divine master. Next, the purple-clothed woman continued to shout. Jian Wushuang quickly retreated. In less than an hour, more than 200 cultivators above the divine master level in the city had been tested. It seems that the person is not hiding in the city, the purple-clothed woman said. Yes, it should be. The tall man nodded. Let's go to the next city. The tall man, the purple-clothed woman, and the others quickly left, and the city became quiet again. As for Jian Wushuang, he returned to the secret room. It's just as I thought. Even if I stand in front of the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, they won't recognize me. Jian Wushuang smiled and felt completely relieved. Then he continued to cultivate and prepare. In the blink of an eye, the area had been sealed for a year. During this year, the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom had searched every corner of the area. They had almost turned the area upside down, but they still could not find the important criminal. We have searched all the places, and we used soul power to search carefully. How could we not find him? When Lord Wu heard the result, his face immediately turned gloomy. Lord Wu, our people have indeed searched very carefully, but that person seems to have vanished into thin air. There's no trace of him at all. Could it be that he has already left this territory? A true saint beside him said. Impossible. Lord Wu immediately denied it. The moment I received the news, I immediately ordered my people to close the spatial passage and then used the dragon imprisoning compass to seal off the world in the shortest amount of time. Furthermore, the area sealed off is already extremely vast. Unless this person's comprehension of the laws of space and time has reached an inconceivable level and he can use teleportation, it's absolutely impossible for him to escape from this region. As for teleportation, many top-notch immortal saints have never mastered it. If he had mastered it, even the king would have been easily killed by him. Why would he need to run for his life? Lord Wu said firmly. He was sure that Jian Wushuang was still hiding in this sealed area, but they had never found him. Then could he be hiding deep underground? The true saint asked again. Underground. Lord Wu's face changed. Underground was the best place to hide. After all, the underground was much wider than the outside world, and it was more difficult to explore. If a cultivator was good at hiding his aura and hiding underground, even a simple scan with soul power might not be able to find him. Only by using soul power to carefully explore every inch could they find him. But if that happened, it would be much more complicated. In the past year, the experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom had indeed searched the entire sealed area, but they had yet to enter the underground. This was because it would take too much time and effort to search underground. From the looks of it, that person is most likely hiding deep underground. Lord Wu said with a cold expression. If that's the case, then it will be much more difficult for us to find others. The true saint beside him said. That's the case, but even so, we still have to find him. Lord Wu growled. This person has already killed 9 true saints of my Magic Note Divine Kingdom, including Holy Lord Huatsong, Tian Mound King, and Stone Saint. These 3 second-level true saints. The king is already furious, so this person must die. Pass down my orders. From today onward, everyone will dive underground and use their soul power to store and investigate. I will control the dragon imprisoning compass and use the array formation to reduce the range of activity underground to within 1,000 kilometers. 1,000 kilometers underground? That true saint's expression sank. My lord, 1,000 kilometers underground is different from 1,000 kilometers in the void. It is too difficult to investigate 1,000 kilometers underground. Can you think of a way to reduce it, for example, within 100 kilometers underground? No, Lord Wu shook his head. I can limit the range of movement of the underground. Although the dragon imprisoning compass can do it, it is not under the control of the ruler personally. I do not have the means of the ruler. Being able to limit it to 1,000 li is already my limit. There's no other way. I can only probe a depth of 1,000 kilometers underground. Of course, such a probe can not only rely on the true saints of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. Send the order and summon the 10 great Magic Note armies over. The cultivators of the Magic Note armies are all cultivators above the Divine Master level. There are a total of 200,000 of them. Let them search carefully. Even if they cannot find him in a year or 2, I do not believe that they will not be able to find him within 10, 20, or even 100 years. Lord Wu clenched his hands, his eyes cold and determined. As soon as Lord Wu gave the order, 200,000 soldiers of the Magic Sound Army arrived. These 200,000 soldiers, including the top experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, went directly underground and began to search for Jian Wushuang in a depth of 1,000 miles. However, after a year, 10, 20 years, they still could not find Jian Wushuang. They had no choice. They had been looking in the wrong direction from the beginning, so it was impossible for them to find Jian Wushuang. In a flash, the area had been sealed by the magic array of the dragon imprisoning compass for 30 years, but the experts of the magic note Divine Kingdom still did not give up on searching. In the secret chamber in the city where Jian Wushuang was hiding. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang's eyes suddenly opened, and a strange light flashed in them. After 30 years of preparation, my divine power has accumulated to the limit of a divine master, and my comprehension of the rules and Tao has reached the peak of my level. In terms of absolute arts, the two moves, Night Elephant and Star Dream, are powerful enough. I've reached the limit in all aspects, and because of the previous pursuit, the bottleneck in my body has loosened a little. It's time to try and break through. Jian Wushuang's eyes flickered. Naturally, he wanted to break through to become an immortal saint. This step was very difficult. He was not fully confident at the moment. After all, he did not really have the opportunity to make a breakthrough. What he could do now was to be fully prepared and make a breakthrough by force. It would be good if he succeeded, but if he failed, he would not be able to make a second breakthrough for 200 years. However, he was trapped in this territory. If he wanted to find a chance to escape, he could only make a breakthrough by force. Let's begin. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. With a flip of his hand, several divine power fruits appeared in the void in front of him. These divine power fruits were deliberately prepared by Jian Wushuang for the purpose of breaking through. Without hesitation, Jian Wushuang swallowed the divine power fruits in one go. In an instant, a vast and pure power began to condense in his body. This power rapidly gathered his own divine power. In the blink of an eye, it formed a torrent. At the same time, the Blood Mountain sword in Jian Wushuang's hand suddenly appeared. A large amount of the power of space-time rules gathered, and Jian Wushuang waved his hand. Space-time swordsmanship, Star Dream. Boom! Boom! While he was performing the swordsmanship, the torrent of divine power that Jian Wushuang had accumulated crazily rushed toward the barrier in his body. It was a forceful attack. After 2 consecutive attacks, the barrier did not budge at all. Again, Jian Wushuang was not discouraged at all. The pure power of the divine power fruit and his divine power had formed 9 torrents, which was equivalent to an attack. Now, he had only attacked twice and there were 7 more attacks left. Boom! 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 There were 3 more fierce attacks. Jian Wushuang also attacked 3 times at the same time, each of which was a move of Star Dream. The barrier trembled slightly for a moment, but it was not damaged. Continue. Jian Wushuang focused his eyes. 4 of the remaining 5 streams of divine power rushed toward him at the same time. Boom! 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 There were 4 more attacks. The barrier in his body shook violently under the impact, but it gradually calmed down after the impact dissipated. All 8 attacks failed. There is only 1 chance left. Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold. The last attack was the strongest impact of the divine power he had condensed. Although there was only 1 divine power torrent in this attack, it was more powerful than the previous 4 combined. Most importantly, although the 4 torrents attacked at the same time, they hit the barrier at the same time, so the power was very scattered. This time, the divine power torrents were composed of thousands of powers. This is my last chance. I'll fight. Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth, his eyes shining with unprecedented sharpness. The divine power torrents in his body also surged crazily and hit the barrier in an instant. Rumble. The divine power was like a tidal wave, trying to break the barrier completely. The barrier began to shake crazily as if it was about to collapse. At this moment, crack, a faint sound rang out, but it made Jian Wushuang overjoyed. Jian Wushuang had already seen that there was a crack on the barrier in his body. Although the crack was very weak, the barrier had lost its ancient firmness because of the crack. Boom! The vast divine power surged and broke the barrier. Rumble! The divine power surged into the barrier. The immortal saint had arrived. In a valley near Jian Wushuang's city, the 3 true saint experts of the magic note Divine Kingdom gathered together. The 3 true saint experts were also in charge of searching for Jian Wushuang. They were not underground, but still searching in the cities. After all, it was highly possible that Jian Wushuang was hiding underground, but it was also possible that he was hiding in the cities. The magic note Divine Kingdom did not want to give Jian Wushuang any chance to escape. But at this moment, buzz! A terrifying divine power suddenly swept out from the nearby cities. What's going on? What's wrong? Judging from this divine power, someone must be making a breakthrough, and judging from the aura alone, it should only be a divine master who has made a breakthrough to become an immortal saint. But isn't this divine power a little too terrifying? It's clearly so far away from us, but it actually filled us with fear. This divine might seems to be stronger than the divine might of a second-level true saint or even a third-level true saint. How is this possible? The three true saints raised their heads to look at the distant void, all of them extremely shocked. And in the next moment, the three of them made a decision. Let's go and take a look. However, we have to go and see who broke through. The three of them immediately set off. The three of them were still some distance away from the city, but they could still feel such a powerful divine might. In that city, countless cultivators were completely under the pressure of that divine might. Who is it? Who is it? Who is breaking through? Looking at the divine power and aura, there is someone who has broken through to become an immortal saint. However, how could such a powerful divine might be something that an ordinary undying immortal saint could possess? This is too terrifying. This divine might is too terrifying. I once had the fortune to see a peak rank 2 true saint erupt with divine might, but it is far from being this terrifying. Who is it? Who is in our city? Countless people screamed in terror. In the secret chamber, Jian Wushuang was completely surrounded by a sea of divine power. His divine power, bones, and even cells were undergoing an unprecedented transformation. Every breath and second of this transformation was earth-shaking. The Divine Master and the Immortal Saint were two completely different levels. It was the difference between heaven and earth. The Divine Master was very ordinary in the entire beginning divine world. However, the Immortal Saint could still be called an expert in the beginning divine world. In a place like the Endless Territories, an Immortal Saint could occupy a realm and become a realm master at any time if he wanted to. In the 9 realms of the Golden Crow world, 8 of them were just ordinary Immortal Saints. Previously, Jian Wushuang was only a Divine Master. The reason why he could challenge Immortal Saints was because of his unique physique, his secret skills, and his comprehension of rules and Tao. To put it bluntly, he was too powerful. For ordinary cultivators, it was almost impossible for a Divine Master to challenge the Immortal Saint, because the gap between them was too big. Now, Jian Wushuang had broken through to the Immortal Saint level. What he was going through was a transformation of his soul and even his essence. This transformation did not last long. It only lasted for a while. Everything gradually calmed down. In the secret chamber, Jian Wushuang opened his eyes again. The moment he opened them, a flash of lightning instantly burst out. Immortal Saint! Have I finally become an Immortal Saint? Jian Wushuang clenched his hands and felt the power in his body that had increased by countless times. He was extremely excited. The Immortal Saint could be considered an expert in the primordial divine realm. Above the Immortal Saint was the Master of Principles, who was already at the peak of the beginning divine world. His goal was to surpass the Master of Principles and reach or even surpass the strength of his Master Xianxia when he was alive. Now, he was one step closer to that goal. Taking a deep breath, Jian Wushuang suppressed the shock in his heart, but his expression became serious. I've reached the Immortal Saint realm, and my divine power is so strong. I must have attracted many people's attention. I'm afraid that the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom will come here immediately. I can't stay here any longer. I'll leave first. Jian Wushuang was very decisive. He immediately restrained all his aura and quietly flew out of the city. Not long after Jian Wushuang left the city, the 3 true saints who had been around the city had arrived. After they arrived, they searched carefully for a while, but Jian Wushuang had already left and did not leave any message. They had no choice but to report this news. In this completely sealed area, there was a towering golden temple floating in the vast void. This golden divine palace was where the upper echelons of the magic note divine kingdom gathered. During the past 30 years, Lord Wu had been staying in this divine palace, controlling the dragon imprisoning compass. It's been 30 years. The magic note army has a total of 200,000 troops. There are also many immortal saints and some great divine masters from the surrounding realms. So many people have searched this region for a full 30 years, but they still haven't found that person. Lord Wu's voice was ice cold. His expression was extremely ugly. Lord Wu, in these 30 years, our people have almost searched the entire 1,000-kilometer area deep underground, but they still haven't found that person. Could it be that that person isn't hiding underground at all, but is hiding in those cities? The true saint beside him said, "Cities? Haven't we searched those cities several times? But we haven't found a single thing." Lord Wu said, "My lord, although our people carried divine power testing stones with them when they searched under normal circumstances, we would only allow some cultivators above the deity realm to participate in the testing. However, that person's methods of hiding his aura are so amazing. If he deliberately hid his aura, for example, by disguising himself as an ordinary divine master or earth divine master, or even by disguising himself as a strong realm expert and hiding within the cities, then our search would naturally not be able to find him." That true saint said, "Hiding his aura and disguising himself as an ordinary divine master or a..." Lord Wu was stunned, but he immediately shook his head. "Impossible. No matter how one conceals one's aura, there will always be a limit. If a powerful immortal saint was in front of a group of divine masters, he could indeed disguise himself very well. He could even disguise himself as an ordinary person without revealing any flaws. However, the experts that we have sent to search the various cities are all true saints. Those true saints of my magic note divine kingdom are not fools. His soul power is also extremely powerful. No matter how impressive that person's means of concealing his aura are, being able to disguise as a great divine master is already his limit. If he wants to disguise himself as an ordinary divine master or a divine devil realm expert in front of a group of true saints, he will definitely not be able to do so." Lord Wu's words were very decisive. Indeed, under normal circumstances, unless the other party's strength was much higher than his own, no matter how formidable his concealment techniques were, they would more or less reveal some flaws. It was practically impossible for a cultivator to perfectly conceal his aura under the same cultivation level and disguise himself as a weak divine master or ordinary person. Then could we have been wrong from the start? For example, that person didn't conceal his aura at all, and he himself is only a divine master. That true saint suddenly said. Hearing this, Lord Wu swept a glance at this true saint, as if he was looking at a fool. This true saint seemed to have realized that he was being a little crazy, and he could not help but smile awkwardly. "Humph! Divine Master?" Lord Wu snorted coldly and said, "To be able to kill Sky Mount King and Stone Saint in one move, his battle strength can even match a third-level true saint. Would he be a divine master? You really dare to think about it. There are many talented experts in the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, but as far as I know, even the supreme three palaces of Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, even the most terrifying of the three palaces, the Primal Chaos Palace that abounds in monsters, absolutely no one can kill a second-level true saint with just the Divine Master realm. Not to mention the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. Even in the entire beginning Divine Realm, no one can do it." Lord Wu made a solemn vow, and he firmly believed this in his heart. But at this moment he suddenly received a message. "Lord Wu, someone in Blood Dipper City has just broken through from a divine master to an immortal saint, and it's just a breakthrough, but the commotion is shocking. Especially that divine might. It's much stronger than the divine might of many rank 3 true saints. He just broke through to become an immortal saint, and his divine might is actually much stronger than a third-level true saint?" Lord Wu, who had been extremely confident just a moment ago that the person they were chasing was definitely not just a supreme god, was immediately stunned when he received this news. "How is that possible? Are you sure that your senses aren't wrong?" Lord Wu immediately replied and asked. "No. This is still because we are quite far away from the place where this person broke through. If we were closer, the divine might we would have sensed would have been even more intense. And now, we have also asked the cultivators in Blood Dipper City. We can confirm that there is indeed a person who has just broken through to become an immortal saint, but he should have already left by now. The true saint in Blood Dipper City replied. Lord Wu's expression became strange when he received an affirmative answer. One had to know that divine might and divine power aura were different. Divine power aura only reflected a cultivator's true realm. Divine might was determined by the strength of divine power. If a cultivator's divine might was comparable to a rank 3 true saint, then his divine power was also comparable to a rank 3 true saint. But now, this cultivator who had just broken through to become an undying saint was much stronger than a rank 3 true saint. This meant that his divine power was stronger than many rank 3 true saints. But how was this possible? How could an immortal saint who had just broken through have such incredible divine power? Lord Wu, we suspect that the immortal saint who has just broken through might be the criminal we've been searching for. The true saint from Blood Dipper City sent another message. Hearing this, Lord Wu's determination had already wavered. Could it be that the person who killed Tianmound King and Stone Saint in a single move is really just a divine master? Lord Wu muttered. If he had thought of this before, he would definitely think that he was crazy. But now, he did not dare to make such a conclusion, because the scene that had happened now was completely beyond his imagination. An immortal saint who had just broken through was much stronger than a rank 3 true saint. Did that not mean that when he was at the Supreme Being level, his divine power was not weaker than a rank 2 true saint? Go find him. Whether this person is the person we're looking for or not, we have to find him first. Since he was still in Blood Dipper City just now, he must be in the territory near Blood Dipper City now. Inform the Magic Note Army and the experts nearby to gather there as quickly as possible. That person has already broken through, and he is a genuine immortal saint. He is far more eye-catching than the previous Divine Master level. It should be much easier to find him. Lord Wu immediately gave the order. The true saint experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, including the sergeants of the Magic Note Army, immediately took action upon receiving Lord Wu's order. Countless experts crazily gathered in the area around the Blood Dipper City. Jian Wushuang, who had just come out of the Blood Dipper City, flew for 4 hours in a valley not far from the Blood Dipper City. In the void in the center of the valley, Jian Wushuang stood there with a cold and arrogant figure. He was feeling the changes in himself. It was a huge transformation from a divine master to an immortal saint. Moreover, Jian Wushuang had long mastered the immortal body and had a strong foundation. He had become an immortal saint from a divine master. He skipped the false saint realm and directly became a rank 1 true saint. It was a huge leap from divine master to rank 1 true saint. He had improved a lot in all aspects of his body. However, he did not have the time to feel the changes in his body because he had made too much noise in Blood Dipper City. But now he could feel it. First, the most basic aspects were divine power and the divine body. My divine power is as vast as the sea. It's hundreds or thousands of times more than that of cultivators of the same level. Even though I'm only a divine master, my divine power is much more vast than that of many true saints. Now that I've broken through to true saint, my divine power hasn't increased much. But in terms of the strength of my divine power, Jian Wushuang suddenly shook his hand. A burst of explosive power immediately gathered in his hand. He even felt that the space in his hand was about to explode. How much stronger is this power compared to my previous strength? Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. He could feel that his divine power was at least 100 times stronger than before, or even more. However, because the strength of his divine power had increased so much, he could not accurately judge the power of his divine power. Although I don't know how much, it's at least stronger than an ordinary rank 3 true saint, Jian Wushuang thought. It was Jian Wushuang's most basic judgment to be stronger than a rank 3 true saint. However, he did not know how much stronger it was until he fought with a rank 3 true saint. In terms of the divine body, the immortal saint's divine body was also much stronger than that of a divine master. In addition, his soul, bones, blood essence, and even cells had undergone earth-shaking changes, which Jian Wushuang could sense. Most importantly, there was another big change after he broke through to become an immortal saint. That was, he could sense more and more rules of heaven and earth from his surroundings. He realized that he could comprehend the principles of heaven and earth at a speed more than 10 times faster than a divine master. It was not only the principles of heaven and earth but also his comprehension of Tao. As expected, the immortal saint and the divine master are two completely different concepts. After becoming an immortal saint, it's easier and easier to comprehend the rules of heaven and earth and the Tao than it is at the divine master realm. Because of this, it's easier for the immortal saints to create their own unique skills. Jian Wushuang sighed secretly. When a cultivator reached a certain level, they would see a new world. That was the truth. I used to comprehend the rules much faster with the help of 3 heaven-sealing scrolls. But now, even without the help of the heaven-sealing scroll, I can comprehend the rules faster than before. Jian Wushuang laughed to himself. Phew! Jian Wushuang exhaled heavily. He had a certain understanding of the changes in himself and knew that he had improved in all aspects. Naturally, his strength had also increased by many times. However, his strength had not only improved after he broke through to become an immortal saint. After all, once he became an immortal saint, the secret skills he cultivated could also be improved. When I broke through in Blood Dipper City, it caused quite a commotion. The experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom will definitely notice it. They might even guess that I'm the person they're looking for. After that, they'll definitely send a large number of experts to search around Blood Dipper City. Although I have made a breakthrough to become an immortal saint and my strength has greatly increased, I haven't improved my secret skill and my battle strength hasn't reached its peak yet. It's still not a good time to face them head-on. I still have to hide for a while. Jian Wushuang thought quickly. I have no choice but to go underground. After making up his mind, Jian Wushuang directly rushed into the depths of the underground. Now that he had reached the immortal saint realm, he was much more eye-catching than before. If he wanted to hide, he could only do so underground. He hid 500 miles underground and tried his best to hide his aura. I deliberately hid my aura. If the Magic Note Divine Kingdom sends a large number of experts to search for me, they will still find me, but it will take time. During this time, my secret skills should have been improved. Jian Wushuang smiled. Deep underground, he had begun to improve his secret skills. He had cultivated several powerful secret skills. Among them, 7-star secret skills, Divine Punishment, 9 Luminary Star Armor, Exquisite Pagoda, and the Archean Void Body all had room for improvement. The first thing Jian Wushuang needed to improve was 7-star secret skills. There were 3 volumes of the 7-star secret skill. He had cultivated the second volume, but the effect of the second volume was greatly reduced after reaching the immortal saint realm. Now, he needed to comprehend the third volume of the 7-star secret skill. The third volume was much more complicated than the second volume. If Jian Wushuang had not broken through to the immortal saint realm, he would have had to spend a little effort to comprehend this volume. However, now that he had reached the immortal saint realm, his comprehension speed had also increased a lot. It only took him half a month to completely comprehend and cultivate the third volume. Let's try it first. Jian Wushuang was looking forward to it. He exerted the star power in his body, which was much more vast than before, with all his strength. Once he exerted it, the divine power aura in his body instantly surged. The divine power aura, which was originally an ordinary first-rank true saint, was now rising at an alarming speed. Soon, it reached the peak of the first-rank true saint realm. Moreover, the divine power aura did not stop but continued to surge. Finally, it reached the limit of the first-rank true saint. It gradually calmed down when it was about to reach the threshold of the second-rank true saint. At the same time, the strength of Jian Wushuang's divine power suddenly rose to a whole new level. It suddenly rose from the first-rank true saint to the limit of the first-rank true saint. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes slightly. As expected, even the third volume can only rise by half a level after becoming the immortal saint. The 7-star secret skill was one of the 5 most powerful secret skills in the 7-star mysterious sect. It was indeed powerful. However, no matter how powerful the secret skill was, it would still be limited. When he was a divine master, the limit was still very small. He could rely on this secret skill to increase his cultivation by 1 level. However, when he reached the level of an immortal saint, it was almost impossible for him to increase his cultivation by 1 or 2 levels. Even if he only increased his cultivation by half a realm, it was already very terrifying. The 7-star secret skill could allow an immortal saint to increase his cultivation by half a realm. Do not underestimate this half a realm. When he reached the immortal saint realm, even if he only increased his cultivation by half a realm, it was enough to greatly increase his strength. Before, I felt that my divine power was already much stronger than that of a rank 3 true saint. Now that I've used the 7-star secret skill, my divine power has increased again. I wonder if I can be on par with a rank 4 true saint now. Jian Wushuang thought. The improvement of the 7-star secret skill was just the beginning. Then, Jian Wushuang began to improve the 2 secret skills, the Punishment Divine Realm and the 9 Luminary Star Armor. He had long reached the 3rd level of the Punishment Divine Realm, condensing a 30,000-meter tall Golden Emperor Phantom. However, after reaching 30,000 meters, the Golden Emperor Phantom seemed to have reached a bottleneck. It did not improve for a long time and remained at 30,000 meters. But now, it took Jian Wushuang 10 days. The 30,000-meter tall Golden Emperor Phantom had increased by 3 times. It was originally only 10,000 meters, but now it was 30,000 meters. Naturally, its power had increased dramatically. As for the 9 Luminary Star Armor, the 9 Luminary Star Armor of the Treasured Armor chapter could increase his attack power by 6 times. But now, as he broke through to the Immortal Saint Realm, he could cultivate the Heavenly Armor chapter. The armor of the Heavenly Armor chapter was black gold in color, but it increased Jian Wushuang's attack power by 9 times. It took Jian Wushuang 2 months to complete the Heavenly Armor chapter. Finally, the Exquisite Pagoda and the Archean Void Celestial Body also improved Jian Wushuang greatly after a period of time. In just 4 months, Jian Wushuang's many secret skills had reached their limits. His battle strength had truly reached its peak. In the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, countless experts were still frantically searching for Jian Wushuang. Before they found him and killed him, the area had been sealed by the dragon trapping compass. In this area, one could only enter but not leave. There were only 2 passageways to enter this area, and many experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom were guarding them. In front of one of the passageways, there were a total of 10 figures from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom guarding it. These 10 figures were all immortal saints, and there were even 3 true saints. So, a figure suddenly streaked over from the distant void and quickly appeared in front of the passageway. It was a blood-haired, blood-robed man. After he arrived, he frowned as he looked at the experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. What's going on? Why is this territory completely sealed? The blood-haired, blood-robed man had a puzzled look on his face. As for the 10 experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, they all locked their gazes on the blood-haired, blood-robed man. They could tell from the aura emitted by the blood-haired, blood-robed man that he was a peak false saint. Who are you? What are you doing in this territory? One of the true saints asked coldly. My name is Xuedong. I came to this territory alone to look for a junior of mine. Furthermore, I came here 1,000 years ago. At that time, this place was not sealed. The blood-haired man said. Xuedong. The 10 experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom looked at each other. They had never heard of this name. However, the Magic Note Divine Kingdom had too many territories. There were many immortal saints, and it was normal for some lesser-known false saints to remain unknown. The 10 experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom did not doubt the blood-haired man's identity. However, out of duty, the true saint asked, What is the name of that junior of yours? Where is he now? He is called Xueling. He is an Earth Divine Master. He is currently in Heavenly Star City. The blood-haired man said directly. The true saint from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom raised his brows. Earth Divine Master. There were countless Earth Divine Master in the area they had sealed off. It was naturally impossible for him to know which one the blood-haired man was referring to. Forget it. You can enter, but before you do so, I have to remind you that this area has been completely sealed off by my magic note Divine Kingdom. You are only allowed to enter, and you are not allowed to leave. Once you enter, it's impossible for you to leave for a short period of time, the true saint said. Oh, the blood-haired man frowned. Then how long will this place be sealed off for? It shouldn't be too long. A few years at best, a few hundred years at most, said the true saint. A few hundred years? That's still fine. The blood-haired man nodded slightly. Immediately, he followed the passageway and entered the sealed area. The 10 experts of the magic note Divine Kingdom did not suspect a thing from the beginning. After the blood-haired man entered the area, he continued forward. However, the place he was heading to was not Heavenly Star City. Instead, he had arrived at a Grand Canyon that was a certain distance away from Heavenly Star City. Upon arriving, the blood-haired man took out a token. Brother Heavenly Marquis, I have arrived at the place you mentioned. The blood-haired man sent a message. Wait a moment. Another message came from the token. The blood-haired man waited in the void of the valley for only a moment. Whoosh! A figure rushed out from underground and appeared in front of the blood-haired man in the blink of an eye. Haha! Shuedong King. Seeing the blood-haired man, Jian Wushuang immediately smiled. Yes, it was Shuedong King who had a good relationship with Jian Wushuang. Brother Heavenly Marquis. Shuedong King also smiled. The moment he saw Jian Wushuang, he immediately sensed his aura. Immortal saint? And judging from his aura, he seems to be a true saint. Shuedong King was stunned. Brother Heavenly Marquis, have you made a breakthrough? Yes, I just made a breakthrough, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Shuedong King took a deep breath. He knew very well that Jian Wushuang could fight a rank 2 true saint before he made a breakthrough. Now that he had made a breakthrough and become an immortal saint, and he had directly crossed the false saint realm to become a rank 1 true saint, how strong was he? Brother Heavenly Marquis, I rushed here as soon as I received your message. I didn't waste any time. I think I can still make it, right? Shuedong King looked at Jian Wushuang with a faint smile. Yes, of course. Jian Wushuang smiled. Shuedong King, have you brought everything I asked you to bring me? Yes. Shuedong King nodded and took out an interspatial ring. There are 100 drops of the god-burning poison in this interspatial ring. I heard that you lost your special outfit, so I asked for one for you. Jian Wushuang took the interspatial ring and scanned it with his consciousness. The smile on his face grew wider. Shuedong King, I asked you to get as much of the divine immolation venom as you could. I didn't expect you to bring so much. It's quite valuable, Jian Wushuang said. Of course it's not cheap. The corner of Shuedong King's mouth twitched slightly as he said, I have the authority of an Earth rank member to exchange for the god-burning poison, but I need a total of 400,000 sacred elixirs to exchange for 1 drop. These 100 drops of god-burning poison cost me a total of 40 million sacred elixirs. 40 million? Jian Wushuang was stunned. He was a heaven-level member, so when he exchanged for the god-burning venom from Lord Amasa, he only needed 300,000 sacred elixirs to exchange for 1 drop. He had exchanged for 50 drops before, which was only 15 million sacred elixirs. But the same treasure, the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance Earth-level members and Heaven-level members to exchange, is originally 2 different prices. You can afford 40 million sacred elixirs? Jian Wushuang looked at Shuedong King with interest. Of course I can't afford it. Shuedong King shook his head. But you also know that I've been in the Barbarian King team. You've taken care of our team before and we've benefited a lot. When our team found out that you needed the god-burning poison, we gathered together 40 million sacred elixirs so that I could bring you 100 drops of god-burning poison. Is that so? Jian Wushuang understood and immediately said, Shuedong King, thank you for this time and Barbarian King team. I'll give you the 40 million sacred elixirs after we leave the magic note Divine Kingdom. You're welcome. Shuedong King waved his hand. By the way, Brother Heavenly Marquis, why do you need so much god-burning poison? and the area where you are now is completely sealed off. I didn't see many experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom on my way here. It seems that they are frantically searching for something. Those experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom have deliberately sealed off an area. Could it be you? What do you think? Jian Wushuang looked at Xuedong King with a smile. It's really you? Oh my God! It was the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. Although I've never been here before, I've read the information before. The king of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom is a rank 4 true saint, and there are many experts in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. There are hundreds of true saint experts. Brother Heavenly Marquis, what did you do to make the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom chase after you? Xuedong King exclaimed. Well, I can't explain it in a short time. Anyway, it's true that many experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom want to kill me. Jian Wushuang smiled, but there was no fear in his words. Xuedong King. Jian Wushuang looked at Xuedong King again. Anyway, this area has been completely sealed, so you can't leave in a short time. Why don't you stay and watch a good show? A good show? What good show? Xuedong King asked. You don't have to ask. You'll know when the time comes. You don't have to do anything. You just need to open your eyes wide and watch carefully, Jian Wushuang said with a mysterious smile. Hearing Jian Wushuang's words, Xuedong King became a little expectant. Jian Wushuang flipped his hand and changed into a gray robe and a gray mask that were unique to the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. His aura also became cold and dark. The corners of his mouth curled up with a cold smile. Those experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom must be tired after searching for me for so long. Now, it's time for me to show my face. The vast world was covered in a layer of faint gold due to the existence of the dragon imprisoning compass array. In the void. So. For figures sped past. These 4 people were not fast. At the same time, they had released all of their soul power, clearly searching for something. The 4 of them were the 4 experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. 2 of them were true saints, while the other 2 were false saints. The 4 of them were chatting as they searched. As they conversed, there were some complaints. We have been searching like this for decades, but we haven't found a single strand of hair on that person. From what I see, that person should have escaped from this region long ago. I think so too. However, this is such a large territory, and so many people have been searching carefully. Even the 200,000 Magic Note army has been dispatched. We've been searching for decades, but we still haven't found him. That person is definitely not here. I heard that not long ago, someone in Blood Dipper City saw someone who had broken through to the level of an immortal saint. Moreover, because of the huge commotion and the divine might he emitted, they thought that the immortal saint who had just broken through was the person we've been looking for all this time. How is that possible? We are looking for an existence with tyrannical strength that can match a 3rd-level true saint. How could he have just broken through to the level of an immortal saint? It's fine if these people can't be found, but why are they looking for excuses? Who says so? We don't know when the search will end like this. The few of them chatted casually, and they were clearly dissatisfied in their hearts. All right, all of you shut up. A low shout suddenly sounded. The person who spoke was a cold and arrogant middle-aged man who was walking at the front. This cold and arrogant middle-aged man was a rank 1 peak stage true saint. He was the strongest among the 4, so his status was naturally the highest. Seal off this area and order us to search every corner. It's Lord Wu. Furthermore, he believes that the immortal saint who has just broken through is the person we are looking for. It's also Lord Wu. Do you have the guts to question Lord Wu's orders? The cold and arrogant middle-aged man glanced at the 3 people behind him. The 3 of them jumped in fright and did not dare to say another word. In the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, other than the king, only the gold and silver kings would dare to ignore Lord Wu. Only the others held great respect for Lord Wu, and the few of them were no exception. After berating him, the cold and arrogant middle-aged man's voice softened. Speak less. Actually, compared to the Magic Note army and those who have been searching underground, the 4 of us are already considered rather lucky. Be content. Hearing this, the three people behind nodded in unison. Indeed, although they had been searching for decades, they were still searching above the ground, so it was easy and fast for them to use their soul power to search. But searching underground was different. They needed to use their soul power to store and search, and they needed to maintain their soul concentration. It was fine for a short period of time, but for decades it was torture. Compared to those people who were investigating underground, they were indeed lucky. At this moment, the cold and arrogant middle-aged man suddenly raised his head and looked forward. There is someone in front, and judging from his aura, it seems to be an immortal saint? Immortal saint? The three people behind were startled, and immediately spread their soul power over. He is indeed an immortal saint. Moreover, his aura is quite unfamiliar. Who could it be? The four of them were puzzled as they continued to fly forward. Soon, they saw an ice-cold figure at the end of their line of sight. He was wearing a black robe and a gray mask. He stood coldly in the air. The aura that he emitted was dark and extremely cold. This person. When they saw the gray-robed figure in their line of sight, the four immortal saints of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, including the cold and arrogant middle-aged man, were shocked. Gray robe, gray mask. This was the unique attire of the members of the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance. In this completely sealed area, there was a person who emitted the aura of a true saint, wore a gray robe, and wore a gray mask. Without a doubt, this person before them was the person they had been trying so hard to find for decades. It's him. He's the one we're looking for. The expressions of the cold and arrogant middle-aged man and the other two became exceptionally interesting. Quickly send a message to Lord Wu. Tell him that we've found him, the cold and arrogant middle-aged man shouted. The true saint behind him did not hesitate at all and immediately took out a token to send a message. In just a moment, the message had been sent out. Is the message finished? A cold voice suddenly sounded. The cold and arrogant middle-aged man and the other two men were shocked. They looked at Jian Wushuang in astonishment. How is it possible? He was at the end of our line of sight just a moment ago. How could he be in front of us in just a moment? The cold and arrogant middle-aged man's body was shaking crazily. How fast is he? Let me ask you, has the message been sent out? Jian Wushuang's cold voice sounded again. Yes, it has been sent out, the arrogant middle-aged man said subconsciously. Very good. Jian Wushuang suddenly smiled. His smile was very sincere because the arrogant middle-aged man and the others had already helped him do what he wanted to do. Since the message has been sent out, then you guys are useless. Die, Jian Wushuang said faintly. His body swayed strangely, and immediately, streaks of silver light burst out. The arrogant middle-aged man and the other three were still standing there, unable to react in time. Chi, 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 chi. For sounds rang out at the same time. The protective armor on their bodies had been cut open, and the blade had entered their divine bodies. The two false saints among the four were the first to die. As for the two true saints, although they had mastered the immortal body, Jian Wushuang's blood mountain sword was coated with the god-burning poison. After consuming only 5 drops of the god-burning poison, the two true saints died instantly. In the void, Jian Wushuang put the treasures left by the four into his interspatial ring with a flip of his hand, but he did not leave directly. Instead, he stood there and waited quietly. Since the four of them have already spread the news, the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom will come here as soon as possible. I'll wait for them here. Jian Wushuang smiled, but under the mask, there was a hint of expectation. In order to break through, he had to flee and hide in the face of so many experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. But now, with his breakthrough to the Immortal Saint Realm and the increase in his strength, he was looking forward to meeting the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. I hope they won't disappoint me. Inside the towering shrine, have you found him? Lord Wu, who was sitting upright on his chair, suddenly sat up. His eyes shone with a bright light. With a wave of his hand, a star map immediately appeared in front of him. He's here. Lord Wu pointed at a location on the star map. That location was not far from Blood Dipper City. It seems that my guess was right. He's the immortal saint who just broke through in Blood Dipper City. Lord Wu's eyes turned cold. He picked up the token and tried to contact the person who had sent the message. However, after he sent the message, there was no response for a while. He's dead. He must have been killed by that person. Lord Wu's voice was cold. Then he immediately sent Jian Wushuang's location to all the experts in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. He ordered the surrounding experts to move toward that position as quickly as possible. Remember, all you have to do is make sure that he is in sight. Don't let him escape again, but don't rush up to fight him. This man is very strong. Without the battle strength of a rank 3 true saint, it's suicide to fight him. Let's go. Let's go. In just a moment, more than 10 figures rushed out of the towering temple and rushed toward Jian Wushuang's position at the fastest speed. In the void, these 10 people were led by Lord Wu, and they were all very fast. Lord Wu was holding a few communication tokens in his hands and receiving messages from all sides. Lord, we have arrived at the position you gave us and have seen that man. A false saint sent a message. You've seen him? He didn't escape? He didn't hide again? Lord Wu asked. No. He just stood there quietly in the void. It seems like he's waiting for us to arrive, the false saint said. He's waiting for us? How is that possible? Are you sure that it's his true body and not the corpse puppet like last time? Lord Wu said with a frown. I can't be sure, but the aura he gives off is indeed that of a first-rank true saint, the false saint said. That should be true. You stay close and keep a close eye on him. We'll be there soon, Lord Wu said, and then cut off the communication. After the communication was cut off, Lord Wu's expression became a bit strange. He knows we've gone over, but he didn't run away. Instead, he deliberately waited for us. Is he courting death? He really could not think of any reason why Jian Wushuang did not run away. Was it because he had become an immortal saint that he did not need to fear them? What a joke. Even if his strength would increase greatly after he upgraded from a divine master and became a rank 1 true saint, his battle strength was already very close to that of a rank 3 true saint. Even if he made a breakthrough now, he would at most have the true battle strength of a rank 3 true saint. A mere 3rd rank true saint battle strength was not enough to contend with them. Who cares? Since he wants to die, I'll grant him his wish. Lord Wu's gaze turned cold as he looked at a person beside him. This was a middle-aged man who wore a short shirt and had short golden hair. This middle-aged man was tall and sturdy, but his aura was extremely cold. Your Highness, with our speed, we will be able to reach that person's position in less than an hour, and our people have also sent news that that person is staying where he is and has not fled or hidden. Hence, we will have to trouble your Highness to personally make a move later. Lord Wu had a high and mighty attitude when he faced the others. However, when faced with this middle-aged man with short golden hair, they did not dare to put on any airs. Gold King was one of the arms that had followed the Magic Note King to conquer the world back then. In the heart of the Magic Note King, Gold King's status was much higher than his. Furthermore, Gold King's strength was obvious. In the entire Magic Note Divine Kingdom, other than the Magic Note King, the strongest was the Gold King. I'll make a move later. Gold King looked indifferent and did not even look at Lord Wu. Lord Wu just smiled awkwardly. They were very fast. In less than an hour, they had arrived at Jian Wushuang's position. He's really there. From a distance, Lord Wu could see a figure wearing a gray robe and a gray mask. Whoosh! 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 A large number of figures stopped in the void less than 500 meters away from Jian Wushuang. At the same time, many experts who had already arrived nearby also gathered. In total, there were more than 50 immortal saints gathered here, including more than 30 experts of the true saint realm. More than 30 true saints, and there are nearly 20 false saints left. This lineup is really impatient. Jian Wushuang still stood in the void calmly, looking at the experts gathered in front of him. However, a faint smile appeared under his mask. A trace of excitement and expectation rose in the depths of his heart. Sir, we have finally found you. Lord Wu stared at Jian Wushuang with cold eyes. From what you mean, It seems that you have been looking for me for a long time? Jian Wushuang smiled wickedly, and his voice was also quite wicked. Of course. In order to find you, I've mobilized 200,000 soldiers of the Magic Note Army and many experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. I've searched this territory for more than 30 years and searched it many times, Lord Wu said. That's because you're too stupid. I didn't deliberately hide it, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. He was telling the truth. He really did not deliberately hide. He had been openly staying in the Blood Dipper City and cultivating in seclusion. When someone came to the Blood Dipper City and asked him to accept the test of divine power, he accepted it. But no one found him. This time, if he did not show himself, it would probably take some time for the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom to find him. Humph, anyway, now that we have found you, it's enough. You killed 7 true saint experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, including Divine Master Huatsong, and then killed Tian Mound King and Stone Saint. Just now, our people found you and passed the information to me. There was no news from you. You must have killed them, right? Lord Wu said coldly. That's right. The 4 people who found me are all dead, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. You killed so many experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom. No matter what background you have, even if you are a genius disciple of the heaven-cleaving 3 palaces, you will die today. Lord Wu's killing intense sword. Your Highness, let's do it. Your Highness Gold King, let's do it. As soon as Lord Wu finished speaking, Gold King, the middle-aged man with short golden hair, took a step forward. Gold King looked at Jian Wushuang with his sharp eyes like a fierce beast. First rank true saint? Third rank true saint? Jian Wushuang also looked at Gold King. And he seems to be very powerful among the 3rd rank true saints. I don't have any grudges with you, but since you've angered the king, then you deserve to die, Gold King said emotionlessly. As soon as he finished speaking, Gold King moved. A golden stream of light flashed across the void and appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. At the same time, a golden spear appeared in Gold King's hand. He held the golden spear in one hand and rotated it. Immediately, a golden airwave swept out. The golden spear was like a golden flood dragon in his hand. The spear pierced through the air, producing a piercing sound. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. After I became an immortal saint, the strength of my divine power has increased too much. I don't know how much it has reached, but I still feel that I'm stronger than a rank 3 true saint. Now that I have the chance to fight with a real rank 3 true saint, I'll give it a try. Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed. He only used 50% of his divine power. However, even if it was only 50% of his strength, it was still very powerful. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang waved his right hand, and the Blood Mountain sword in his hand slashed down like a bolt of blood-red lightning. Clang! The blood-red lightning instantly collided with the golden flood dragon. As soon as they came into contact, Jian Wushuang immediately felt a strange spiral force coming from the Gold King's spear, accompanied by an astonishing explosive force. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang retreated backward in a sorry state. After a long while, he stopped again. Humph, I heard that you killed both Tian Mound King and Stone Saint in one move, and your battle strength was close to that of a rank 3 true saint. But now, it seems that you are just SOSO. Gold King snorted. Haha, I was too arrogant. Jian Wushuang laughed self-deprecatingly. He had only used 50% of his divine power, but now it seemed that 50% was not enough. Let's try again. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly, but he rushed forward and raised the Blood Mountain sword in his hand. Whoosh! It was still the same brutal blood-red lightning. However, this time Jian Wushuang used 70% of his divine power. It seemed that 70% and 50% were only 20% more, but 20% was enough to raise Jian Wushuang's strength to a whole new level. Gold King struck again. Buzz! A dazzling golden light lit up. The golden light was invincible and collided with the blood-red lightning again. However, this time, the golden light dimmed and even Gold King's body trembled slightly. What? Gold King was a little surprised. In the next moment, he and Jian Wushuang both retreated. This time they were evenly matched. His divine power has increased and it has improved a lot. He is not inferior to me at all. Gold King stood firm and looked at Jian Wushuang again with a serious expression. He was also very shocked. After all, Jian Wushuang was only a rank 1 true saint, and it seemed that he had just made a breakthrough. But in terms of divine power, he was on par with him. After all, he was a true saint expert who was infinitely close to the peak of rank 3. Your name is Gold King, right? How is my power? Do you want to try again? Jian Wushuang looked at Gold King with interest. Although I don't know how a rank 1 true saint like you can have such powerful divine power. A person's strength is not determined solely by the power of divine power. Gold King sneered. Suddenly, whoosh, a strange golden light flashed and disappeared. Gold King's figure disappeared completely. In its place, the golden light moved through the void at a terrifying speed. Speed! Jian Wushuang was stunned. But then he burst into laughter. Do you think I'm afraid of you when it comes to speed? Jian Wushuang was not afraid at all. He turned into a streak of silver light and burst out in an instant. His comprehension of the space-time rule had completely burst out. At the same time, he also used the silver light movement technique to its fullest. Whoosh! 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 Silver light flashed crazily in the void, which was obviously faster than the golden light formed by Gold King. Both of them reached their maximum speed, and in the blink of an eye they fought again in the void. Clang! 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 The sound of metal colliding rang out continuously. In less than a breath's time, the sound of metal colliding rang out nearly 100 times. In just a breath's time, the two had exchanged close to 100 head-on blows. Fast. Both of them were too fast. It was so fast that many of the experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom who were watching the battle were confused, because they could not catch the figure of Jian Wushuang and Gold King. Finally, chi! With a slight sound, the golden light shot out and went back into Gold King. However, Gold King was clearly in a sorry state at the moment. There was a white mark on the shoulder of the divine armor on his body. The white mark was left by Jian Wushuang's Blood Mountain sword. However, it was just a scratch, not a direct attack. Otherwise, it would not be as simple as leaving a white mark. However, the appearance of the white mark meant that Gold King was at a disadvantage in the fight just now. Haha, Gold King, you have comprehended the principles of gold. How stupid you are to compete with me, who has comprehended the principles of spacetime. Jian Wushuang sneered. In terms of speed, he was indeed superior to the Gold King. In fact, in terms of comprehending the principles of spacetime, he had reached the limit of the second stage. Gold King's comprehension of the principles of gold was also the limit of the second stage. However, the principles of gold were strong. It was good at strength and power, while the principles of spacetime were best at speed. Jian Wushuang, who had comprehended the principles of spacetime, was naturally faster than Gold King, who had comprehended the principles of gold. Moreover, Jian Wushuang had the help of movement skills. Gold King was furious that he had suffered a small loss in front of so many people. How fast is my speed? I have been a rank 3 true saint for many years. I don't believe that I can't compete with you. A true saint who has just broken through. In terms of the skills I have created, Gold King said in a low voice. The next moment he attacked again. Arg! Gold King's angry roar reverberated between heaven and earth. The golden spear in his hand had been thrust straight out. With this thrust, a huge golden sun appeared between them in an instant. This golden sun was extremely dazzling. It released billions of golden rays of light that illuminated the surroundings, making the surrounding experts unable to open their eyes. Jian Wushuang stood in front of the golden sun and felt a majestic and extreme power. This power was much stronger than the spear technique that Gold King had used before. A rank 3 absolute art, at least an advanced rank 3 absolute art. Jian Wushuang's eyes shone with a fierce light, and his fighting spirit instantly soared. Buzz, buzz, a large amount of divine power surged crazily. At this moment, Jian Wushuang had unleashed all the power of his divine power. 100% divine power. Jian Wushuang burst out with all his strength. He held the Blood Mountain sword with one hand, holding the endless power in his hand, and suddenly slashed out. A dazzling sword light suddenly lit up. The sword light was also silent, but the moment it lit up, it roared. A roar of a fierce beast echoed in the world. It was a sword light, but in the blink of an eye, it turned into a huge and ferocious beast head. Space-time swordsmanship. Xianxia. The two strongest swordsmanships that were created by Jian Wushuang. The first move of Star Dream was a rank 3 absolute art, and it had already formed the embryonic form of swordsmanship. As for Xianxia, it was only a rank 2 absolute art, and it was not perfect, so it could not form the embryonic form of swordsmanship. But the power of Xianxia was heavy. The power of Star Dream was heavy tearing and cutting. Now it was a head-on collision between the two, so of course Jian Wushuang used the move of Xianxia. The huge and ferocious head of the exotic beast collided with the golden sun, which carried a shocking power in the blink of an eye. It was a collision between a rank 3 and a rank 2 secret skill, so Gold King should have been able to crush Jian Wushuang. But in the end, bang! After a loud sound, Jian Wushuang and Gold King were both sent flying, but Jian Wushuang was sent farther away. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang regained his balance and looked up at Gold King, feeling extremely excited. As expected of an expert who has comprehended the principles of gold. He is strong and powerful, and he used an advanced third-level skill which is much stronger than my Xianxia move. My divine power is much stronger than his, but I'm still at a disadvantage in a head-on collision. Jian Wushuang thought. Gold King was also very surprised. How can this be? He's clearly only using a rank 2 ultimate art. How can he only be at a disadvantage in a head-on clash with me? Gold King found it hard to accept. However, he quickly understood. It's divine power. His divine power's power hasn't been fully unleashed before. I estimate that he's only used 70 to 80% of it. He's just a rank 1 true saint. He's only using 70 to 80% of his divine power's power, but he's actually able to fight me to a draw? Now that he's using his full strength, even if his absolute art can't be compared to mine, his divine power is not much weaker than mine. This guy. Gold King's face was a bit ugly. I don't believe it. With a low shout, Gold King attacked again. Jian Wushuang was fearless and directly went up to meet him. In the void, the two exchanged blows again and again. Each time they exchanged blows, they directly displayed their ultimate skills. Naturally, Jian Wushuang displayed the move of Xianxia, while Gold King also displayed the Golden Sun. Without any particular technique, Jian Wushuang did not even bother to display his speed advantage. He directly confronted him head-on. Clang, 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 clang. A low sound of collision was heard in the world. Each time they collided, their divine power formed a terrifying shock wave, which swept out in all directions. Under the shock wave, the gale in the world raged, and the entire void roared crazily. The head-on collision only lasted for a moment, and Jian Wushuang pulled away from Gold King again. Boy, why are you running? Are you afraid? Gold King shouted when he saw Jian Wushuang retreat. Afraid? Jian Wushuang smiled and said, I'm sorry. I just feel that your strength is weaker than I expected, and you can't put too much pressure on me. So I don't want to continue fighting with you. What did you say? Gold King was furious. He was a rank 3 true saint, and he was almost at the peak of rank 3. He was fighting with a rank 1 true saint, but his opponent said that he was weak and did not pose much of a threat to him. This was a slap to his face, and he was fighting in front of so many experts of the magic note divine kingdom. How could he not be angry? How could he not be angry? However, he did not know that Jian Wushuang was not deliberately provoking him. He said this because he had such a feeling when he fought with Gold King. Gold King is indeed very strong, but it's a pity that even if he uses his strongest spear to fight me, he is only slightly in the upper hand. He can't even suppress me. I haven't even used my speed advantage. Jian Wushuang laughed in his heart. With his current strength, he did not need to use any secret skills. He only needed to use his speed and silver light movement skills. He was confident that he could suppress Gold King. In such a situation, How could Gold King give him any pressure? I won't waste time with him. I'll just attack and defeat him. Jian Wushuang's expression became serious, and his eyes flashed. Rumble. A large amount of golden divine power began to gather behind Jian Wushuang. The divine power was as vast as the sea, and in the blink of an eye, it formed a huge golden emperor phantom behind Jian Wushuang. The golden emperor phantom was 30,000 feet tall, wearing golden armor and shining with golden light. Its pair of golden eyes had a sense of arrogance that was above all things in the world. It looked down and intimidated everything below. In the surrounding void, there were many experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom gathered there. At this moment, they saw the existence of the 300,000-foot tall golden emperor phantom. At the same time, they also sensed the golden eyes of the golden emperor phantom. The golden eyes seemed to contain a special demonic power as they swept across the surrounding void. With this sweep, everyone present was stunned. It was as though they were being stared at by an ancient emperor. They could not help but feel their hearts palpitate. Even the Gold King's pupils shrank when he saw the 30,000 feet tall golden emperor phantom. Divine punishment. Control heaven and earth punishment. The golden emperor's shadow formed by this secret skill had a great deterrent effect, which would make people fearful. And as Jian Wushuang's control of this secret skill increased, the deterrent effect would become more and more powerful. Now, when the 30,000-meter tall divine punishment realm expert appeared, the weaker rank 1 and rank 2 true saints did not dare to look at him. Only cultivators above rank 3 true saints could remain calm in front of the divine punishment realm expert. However, they would still be somewhat intimidated. However, this secret skill would not only intimidate the other experts but also increase their own strength. The divine punishment, who was only 30,000 feet tall before, didn't improve my divine power that much. But now, it's 30,000 feet tall. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands and felt the power of his divine power under the divine punishment. The power of his divine power had increased dramatically. He could feel that the power of his divine power had almost doubled at this moment. Yes, almost doubled. However, when his divine power was fully unleashed, it was much stronger than that of Gold King, who was close to the peak of rank 3. Now that his divine power had almost doubled, although it was not comparable to that of a rank 4 true saint, it had completely surpassed that of a rank 3 true saint. Gold King, come and take another strike from me. Jian Wushuang's cold voice reverberated between heaven and earth. At this moment, he was full of divine power, and the Blood Mountain sword in his hand was slowly raised. Gold King's face was extremely solemn. He could see that Jian Wushuang's secret skill was extraordinary, so he did not dare to underestimate Jian Wushuang's next strike. Buzz! Jian Wushuang made his move. He struck out with his sword again, and the dazzling sword light appeared again. Jian Wushuang used the same move, Xianxia. The sword skill did not improve at all, but what was improved was the power of Jian Wushuang's divine power. Humph! Gold King's eyes turned cold, and vast divine power and a large number of gold principles gathered in his hand at a terrifying speed. Suddenly, Gold King thrust his spear. Whoosh! The huge golden sun burst out again. However, this time, the golden sun was obviously a little bigger than the golden sun that Gold King had previously displayed, and the light was even more dazzling. Rumble! The void trembled, and the two terrifying attacks finally came into direct contact. But at this moment, get down! Jian Wushuang suddenly let out a roar, and the power of the sword light suddenly soared. The 30,000-meter tall golden emperor phantom behind him suddenly waved its sword. The golden sword light directly struck the golden sun like a golden thunderbolt. The dazzling golden sun instantly dimmed. Gold King only felt his hands sink, and then a wave of intense pain spread out, and the bones in his two arms seemed as if they were about to explode. Subsequently, a terrifying oppressive force acted on his body, and in front of this oppressive force, Gold King actually did not have the slightest bit of leeway to resist. Bang! Gold King's figure was like a meteorite that instantly smashed down from a height of several hundred meters. With a loud bang, a huge hole was created in the ground. At the same time, a large number of sword beams rushed out, splitting the ground into pieces, leaving behind huge gullies. As for Gold King, he had completely sunk into the bottom of the hole, losing all signs of life for a short period of time. Silence. The vast world had completely fallen silent, dead silent. In the surrounding void, the experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom who were watching the battle were very confident in Gold King. After all, Gold King was a super expert in the Magic Note Divine Kingdom whose strength was second only to the Magic Note King. He was close to the level of a peak rank 3 true saint. It was a waste for such an expert to kill a rank 1 true saint. However, when they saw Gold King and Jian Wushuang fight, Gold King did not gain much of an advantage in a short period of time. Later, when Gold King went all out and only gained a slight advantage, they were already very shocked. And now, they saw Gold King being hacked into the ground from hundreds of meters high by Jian Wushuang. In an instant, everyone was stunned. They were all stunned. Everyone's eyes were filled with disbelief. How is this possible? Even Lord Wu widened his eyes and stared at the scene in front of him. Bang! A loud sound suddenly came from the hole in the ground, and then a golden figure rushed up again. It was naturally Gold King, but his hair was messy and there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. He looked very miserable. He appeared in the void. His narrow eyes were burning with anger as he stared at Jian Wushuang. He was furious. In front of so many experts of the Magic Note Divine Kingdom, he was struck underground by a rank 1 true saint. This was an unprecedented humiliation for him, so he was furious. However, other than anger, he was more shocked. He was shocked by Jian Wushuang's strength. He had never thought that a rank 1 true saint could be so powerful. I didn't believe it when they said that he could easily kill a rank 2 true saint at the level of a divine master. But now I believe it, Gold King muttered. He had no choice but to believe it. He's a complete monster. While Gold King was in shock, the experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom had also reacted. Their expressions were extremely ugly. Lord Wu, from the looks of it, even His Highness the Gold King himself can't do anything to him. What should we do now? A true saint asked. What should we do? Lord Wu's eyes turned cold, but he growled. His Highness the Gold King can't kill him alone, so we will all charge forward. I don't believe that he alone can survive the encirclement of so many true saints. Hearing Lord Wu's words, the surrounding experts from the Magic Note Divine Kingdom were stunned. Encirclement. Furthermore, there were dozens of true saints. Not only were there first-rank true saints, there were also many second-rank true saints and even third-rank true saints. So many people were going to encircle and kill one person. Most importantly, it was only a first-rank true saint that was being encircled and killed. These experts looked at each other with extremely complicated feelings. Why? Do all of you still treat him as a first-rank true saint? Lord Wu swept his gaze across the surroundings.